Growing up, I wanted to become a WWE wrestler. MMA did not exist. I wanted, but I'm too small. I'm not big enough. At the time, they were big. All the wrestlers were minimum 200, maybe 30 pounds and plus.
Big dudes.
Yeah, now it changes. Now they want sometimes more athletic guys, maybe smaller. But before, they were all big guys. Heavy big guys. Like, it was, I didn't have the... You know, the physique.
Yeah, bro.
I could have maybe get on steroid and get there, but I didn't want to take the risk, you know?
Oh my God. Yeah. And they encouraged the steroids, all the different steroids. And those dudes were I've heard stories because I spent a lot of time around Hulk and stuff. And like, I've heard so many stories from him and the other guys about just like all the explicit drug use and like, not just the steroids, but they would have to be on painkillers because they were dealing with like serious chronic like back issues and hip issues all the time. And like,
they're incredible athletes. I mean, the level of stunt that they got put in is unbelievable. Like the gravity doesn't play the same on a guy who weighs 250 pounds and a guy who's 150 pounds.
Like Andre the Giant.
Oh, hey man, I remember when Hulk Hogan lifted him up. You know, I don't know if you've seen the documentary on TV. It's unbelievable.
It's insane.
He wasn't
the stinky giant.
he didn't know before he actually like a few seconds before he actually lifted him up that it was going to he was going to do it because it wasn't planned. You know, when he talk about it, is Andre the Giant was in a bad mood and he let Hulk lift him up and he sort of passed the torch.
Right.
You know, it's incredible, the whole story behind of what happened. It's unbelievable.
It really is, bro. And the fact that Andre the Giant was drinking like 3 24-packs of beer before a match too, it's like crazy.
Yeah.
The guy, he was constantly drinking beers. And have you seen the photo of him holding a can of beer?
Oh, it's insane. Yeah,
he's holding it, and it's like from here to here on the palm of his hand.
Yeah.
It's just
he was French, André Le Géant.
Yes, yeah, man,
from France, and very very popular. I'm from Montreal, Quebec, Canada. So he used to be a villain for a big part of his career, but where I'm from, he was always the good guy. You know, people love to love the villain, you know, because he was French. So
yeah. And I think Hulk like really injured himself when he lifted Andre in that match.
Yeah.
Something happened. I don't remember if it was his hip or if it was his back, but I think he needed to get one of his first surgeries right after that.
I know that during that match, Andre was actually injured. He had a back injury, so he couldn't do much. And he was injured, so he took it for the team, you know, like and, it must have been very painful because he's like something like 500 pounds to be lifted up and slam, you know, like gravity doesn't play the same for him that for myself, you know.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
it's a different world now.
Oh yeah, like Shawn Michaels, man, Bret Hart, you know, these guys were my favorite. It was insane. I love Shawn Michaels because he was the perfect villain at one point. You know, he was the guy that everybody loved to hate, you know?
Yes.
And he was very good to sell his opponent shot, to make his opponent look good, which is very important. To be a good wrestler, you need to make your partner look good. That's like an exchange. I make you look good, you make me look good.
Right.
And I think a lot of these guys, they have a big influence on what I do, MMA. If you look at, for example, Conor McGregor, even, you know, like all the guys that trash talk, you know, a lot of them were inspired by those wrestlers.
Yeah, they really, especially Conor did a really good job of building up the theatrics of it and selling it and just being such a good trash talker. You know, like the build up to that Conor McGregor Floyd Mayweather fight was like one of the most insane media spectacles of my lifetime, I think.
Yeah, he had this gift. Conor had this unique gift that I think he was the best at in the world of MMA to make people interesting about the fight. You know, like I think it was can't remember who said it. I think is it Muhammad Ali says it, love me, hate me, but don't ignore me. Or you know, like he was that guy. You know what I mean? You needed to have, you had an opinion on Conor McGregor, whether you like him or you hate him.
Right.
But he doesn't, you want to see what's going to happen, you know?
Yeah. Do you think he'll ever fight again?
I don't know. The question is, I believe if he fights again, will he perform as well as he did? It's hard because he you know, now he doesn't need the money.
Right.
He's very wealthy. It's hard when you're wealthy to sort of put yourself back into, you know, into that mindset.
Right.
Yeah.
Have that hungry, the hungry dog runs faster.
Yeah. I've done it myself, so I know what I'm talking about. You know, when you wanna come back after a few years, when you know you don't need the money, but you want to do it for the right reason. It's hard, you know.
Yeah, it's gotta be tough, and you know, especially when, you know, I'm sure people are getting a lot better. Like the younger guys coming up are getting a lot better, and he's been off for so long. I'm sure he kind of like lose stuff. I don't know how much he trains.
He looks to me like he gained a lot of weight because he did that movie Roadhouse.
Oh yeah,
with Jake Gyllenhaal.
He looked fucking jacked.
He looked big. He looked like 200 pounds. But you know, sometimes camera can play tricks on your mind.
Get on that gas, baby.
Yeah, he used to compete at 145. Now, if he went up to 200 pounds, I'm sure. I mean, if he fought at 155, but I'm sure he won't be able to go back that low. You know, so if he fights again, it will be, I think, at 170. It has to be because he's much bigger than he used to.
Yeah, wasn't he supposed to? Wasn't there one like scheduled or something?
The White House.
That was last year. The White House.
There was rumor of him fighting at the White House.
Yes, that's what it was. Is that still on, or is that?
Well, I don't know. There was a lot of.
What's the update on that?
There was a lot of guys that were like. Conor was one of them. John, I thought John would be on the White House, but now that the card just got officially announced. I'm actually going to be there because I'm cornering Ayman Zahabi. He's fighting Sean O'Malley.
Oh yeah.
So what they did, it seems to me like they choose one fighter that represent United States and a fighter who's from elsewhere in every fight of the card. So you have Justin Gaethje against Elias Tuporia. Cyril Gann, who's from France, against Pereira, who's I think he's from Brazil, or I don't know if he still live in Brazil or he live in America. But yeah, that's what they did. They did. It's the best card of the year.
That's gonna be nuts. When is that supposed to be?
June 14, if I remember correctly.
14 of this year.
I could be a different. I think it's June 14. Yeah.
God, that's gonna be crazy. How?
I think that
how is America gonna pull off a UFC fight on the White House lawn in the middle of all the chaos going on in the world right now?
Bro, I just, one thing I can tell you is that
we got 16 wars going on and pedophile rings being exposed, but
that's the only time in history is going to happen. I think. I don't think it will ever happen again. I mean, who else will do that? Like, I mean,
I think what they should do is they should get all of the billionaires who were exposed in the Epstein files and have them do death matches,
like Coliseum style,
like celebrity death match, but you got file death match. They all have to go in until there's no one.
And then
left
after it's the crowd who decide up or down. That's right. I like your idea. I think they should give it a try.
Oh my god, that would be so fucking crazy, dude. Yeah, the world. The world is crazy right now, bro.
Yeah,
it's too much. It's too much to process. Just the news feed alone.
Do you believe everything that it's been said on TV by the media? I
don't watch the TV. I don't watch the Fox and CNN and that shit. I don't watch. That's just narrative driven bullshit hiding behind the word news. I just try to pay attention as much as I can to smart people who know about this stuff that do podcasts.
Yeah.
And I pay attention to like the journalists on X, the good journalists that are on X posting on there, because they can be very like stuff that's breaking right now will often be on X and stuff like that, and people can corroborate it and call it out for bullshit. You can see the context. If you scroll down, you can read like the comments to see like, is this bullshit? Is this real? So And then if it's fun, sometimes I like to turn on like Fox or CNN just to see what the narrative is, just to see what my parents are seeing.
See the both side of the spectrum, sort of.
Right. But
the blue and the red, right?
Yeah. There was just something I saw today, this morning actually, just since the Iran war broke out. Do you remember when when COVID happened, there's those montages of all of the mainstream media outlets basically repeating the same thing over and over again. It's like they were almost they were fed a script.
Yeah.
That's already happened with the Iran war. All of them are already saying, there's a montage that says short-term pain for long-term success. All of them are saying the same thing. Man. So like, it's just, all of that stuff is just, it's just too narrative driven, and I think it's too fake. And
I used to watch the news a lot, but since the COVID, like in Canada, it was especially in Quebec where I'm from, it was very badly managed. We had curfew, and I was so pissed off. I was very angry at the situation.
Yeah.
I mean, how a curfew will limit the propagation of the, I don't get it. I was very angry, and I was very disappointed of what happened, but it made me realize also that maybe the media sometimes are politicized, like they have maybe the guy that works doesn't even know, but maybe upstairs there's an agenda. Maybe it's pharmaceutical industry, maybe it's a military industrial complex. I mean, when the military industrial complex, profit from war, there will always be war. Same thing with I believe a virus or a disease. There will always have virus or disease because they make money out of it,
Yeah.
A lot of people roll their eyes and think, oh, it's a conspiracy theory idea. But man, the more you look at it, and the more you dive into these things, sometimes you find out
this is the year of the conspiracy theorist, man. Yeah. Conspiracy theorists are rolling in shit right now, because all the craziest conspiracies are coming true now.
Yeah.
It's insane. There's this comedian, Sam Tripoli. He came in the other day, and he has a conspiracy theory podcast. He said after these Epstein files came out, we only have 3 conspiracies left. The only conspiracies left are flat Earth, viruses aren't real, and nukes are fake.
It's insane. But it also depends where you're from. For example, I'm lucky. I have the opportunity to travel a lot. I travel around the world. And I can see while I'm traveling which country is exposed to certain truth.
Right.
You know what I mean? Even though if it might not be the truth, like in Canada, for example, where I'm from in Quebec, it's very left wing. Like if you look at the media, all the left wing ideology are pushed. And if you go, for example, in, I don't know, like in Texas, I watch Fox is right. And then you have CNN, which is left, right? So, but depending where you at, and I'm sure if I would go in Russia, and I have a friend that lived there, we're the bad guys in their movies. You know what I mean? We're the bad guys.
Right. Yeah.
So it depends from which point of view you're looking at. You know what I mean? So it's so hard to really find out the truth, because, man, it's always politicized.
Yeah, there's so much nuance, man. It's really hard to know. And, I say this all the time, and it frustrates me. But, like, for people like me that basically just talk on a microphone and post videos on the internet and talk to people, like, it's that. What we're doing right here is talking about some war somewhere is so disconnected from the truth, because like you have one guy who's on the ground who's seeing something, reporting it, and then there's like 5 layers of separation of people talking about it. It's like the game of telephone before it gets to a video that I'm able to see and talk about it on here. And there's somebody who's hearing it for the first time through me, 6 layers deep. So it's like, we're so disconnected from what's real anyways. It's just, it's so hard to drill down to what's really going on around the world.
And also with the age of AI now that we're we're in, it's going to be even harder to differentiate what's real, what's not. There's so much misinformation. You just look online, like all the product people try to sell, this is cure cancer, this, do that. I'm like, man, I don't know what's real. It's hard. It's very hard to know, very hard to know.
Yeah, the AI stuff's scary as shit, dude. I've never really thought about life insurance because A, I'm not old, and B, I have no desire to go through a long, complicated, and expensive process. And then I found Fabric, and now I'm insured at an incredible rate. Fabric by Gerber Life is term life insurance you can get done today. Made for busy parents like you and me, all online, on your schedule, and right from the couch. You can be covered in under 10 minutes with no health exam required. And that was the part that surprised me. No appointments and no paperwork marathon. And if you've got kids or someone that depends on you, this is not something you want to have to figure out after something happens. A lot of people don't realize that life insurance through work usually isn't enough. And it definitely doesn't follow you when you leave that job. Fabric lets you lock in coverage that actually fits your life and your budget. We're talking up to $1 million in coverage for less than $1 a day. They've got a 30-day money-back guarantee, so there's no risk. Join the thousands of parents who trust Fabric to help protect their families. Apply today in just minutes at meetfabric.com/Danny. That's meetfabric.com/Danny. Policies insured by Western Southern Life Assurance Company. Not available in certain states. Prices subject to underwriting and health questions. Did you see that new thing that happened with Anthropic AI, the company that was getting the defense contract from the Pentagon or whatever?
No,
so the Pentagon had this contract with pull up the story, Steve, so we don't fuck it up. But this company called Anthropic, one of the biggest AI companies, was working on a deal with the Pentagon. And I guess one of the line items in the contract was that they wanted them to spy on U.S. citizens with their AI. And then they said, no, f that, we're not doing this. Take this out of the contract. And the Pentagon was like, no, we're sticking to this point. We're not going to let this go. And then so eventually the Pentagon said, screw you guys, we're going with OpenAI. So they offered it to OpenAI, the company that owns ChatGPT, with Sam Altman. And I guess he took the deal. So now, like, ChatGPT is working with the Pentagon, and potentially they're going to be spying on U.S. citizens. So who knows how that goes?
Bro, I'm sure they already do it. I have a friend who works for the government. He's high, and he says to me, this, cell phone.
Yeah,
they can listen to our conversation. They can look with the camera. The thing they're not allowed to do is to use those evidence and publicly, because that would prove that they interfere in our privacy.
Right.
But they can collect intelligence. You know, they can use it. You know? So it's crazy. I'm sure they already do it. I'm sure.
They have to.
Yeah.
They have to, bro. I mean, I've heard like anecdotal stories of weird shit happening to people, but like, goddamn, man. Well, if they've been doing that since, from what I understand, is they've been spying on people since 9/11, but like, how much crime have they stopped? Like, what is their justification for doing that? Like, they haven't stopped that we know of, like, any big attacks. There's been tons of attacks like throughout the country since then.
And when you say they, who are they? Is it the president, or I don't know, because the president come and go every 4 years. Is he brief on that stuff, or what is his level of secrecy?
Well, it's probably the NSA and private companies.
But who's in charge? He must have a guy who has the full picture of this.
There must be a guy who has the full picture.
Or a group of people that have. Same thing with. I know you're really into UFO, UAPs. And there's a phenomenon. I mean, the phenomenon is real. What we don't know for sure is that we don't have evidence to know if it's alien, interdimensional, or us from the future, or Atlantean, or whatever, like, we don't know. But the phenomenon is real. There's things that flies. Is the government has retrieved some of them to back engineer this? We don't know. There's a lot of whistleblowers that came up. Yeah. But same thing with this topic. Yeah. There must be a group or someone that has the biggest picture, I wish I could know,
Yeah, I just don't know how that person sleeps at night.
Yeah.
They must be, unless they're just a pure sociopath, like a pure psychopath.
If you had an opportunity on your podcast, Danny, to interview someone on truth serum, who would it be?
On truth serum?
Yes, he has to tell you. He has to tell you an answer.
Oh,
because there must be someone high up that knows. You know who would have chose? I would choose Vladimir Putin.
Ooh.
Because he used to be in the KGB. So I'm sure Vladimir Putin probably knows more than the Prime Minister of Canada
That's
or the president, because he was in the, or maybe Bush Senior, but now he's gone. But
Bush Senior.
Yeah, guys like this, I think they know a lot of stuff.
I think I'd pick Bill Clinton.
Bill Clinton? Could be, yeah.
I think he knows a lot of shit.
Probably.
I think he's a smart, for as evil as that guy is and all the atrocities that he's committed, he's very smart. I think he knows a lot of shit. A lot of shit that could lay to rest a lot of mysteries in the world today, including the UFO stuff.
Mm.
Yeah, I watched. Did you watch the? I don't know if you saw that recent deposition that he did.
No.
Where they're deposing him about the Epstein stuff.
Oh yeah, I heard that. Yeah, I haven't seen. Yeah. Oh
my
shit.
God, it was wild.
What did he say? Like he says he knew, but he was never part of.
Well, first of all, he looks like Joe Biden, right? He looks the same age as Joe Biden, and he's got this like pre-Parkinson's, like he's drinking his water, and he's like drinking it like that, you know, he's shaking, and you're like, oh God, this poor guy, like they're gonna rip him apart. Mm-hmm. And then he opens his mouth, and he is sharp as a tack.
Oh yeah,
like he's still got the charm, he's still got the wit, he's quick. I mean, he was always like that. Mm-hmm. And then they're showing him some photos of him and Epstein from back in the day, and he passes it to him, and he looks at it, he like pulls his glasses down, he's staring at it, and then he gets this real big smile on his face. And then his lawyer yanks it from him. And he goes, hold on, give me that back. And he's like,
this is on video.
He's reminiscing. Yeah, it's in the deposition with him. You could probably find it on X, but it is fucking bonkers to see him react like that, dude. Because you can just tell he's having a full on like flashback of what he was going through. And you know, some of the shoulders that he's rubbed with, like in his years traveling around the world with some of the sheiks and the world leaders, and you know, well, like I would love to juice that dude up with an IV of truth serum and let him talk for 3 hours. That would be pretty insane.
Which question would you ask him?
I don't know. I don't know where to start.
UFO, Epstein file.
The first thing I would ask him about Mena, Arkansas, and ask him how much money he was making from all the cocaine that was coming in from South America. Look at him. This is him staring at the photo. Look at the mouths open. He's just like, give me that back. Give me that shit back.
Yeah. I think it's Bob Marley says, we live in our memories.
Look at him.
You know, he's living a souvenir now.
That was a good night. Oh shit. Remember her?
Oh my God. Yeah. that it doesn't look good. Yeah. It doesn't look good. Yeah.
Oh my God.
It's hard to interpret.
He's top of the list. I'm sure there's some other people I could think of that are dead now, but he's up there.
Man.
He's definitely up there, bro. Bob Lazar would be another good one.
Oh, yeah?
I think Bob Lazar would be good.
I know him a little bit.
I saw you were just at that thing with Jesse Michaels and Bob Lazar and those guys.
I met him I spent time with him.
Really?
And I met him many different times. And well, a lot of people say I'm naive, but I believe that he believes what he's telling me is true. I don't know if the story is true, but I believe that he believes.
That he believes it.
Yes.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
One theory that I had was that maybe, because during his testimony, he says that, if you look at the interview, he says that before he got to the hangar and he got exposed to those craft that are apparently from another world and retrieved by the military, he had to drink a cocktail. He didn't know what it was, and he had he had an exam, like a physical exam. So I thought that maybe one theory is that he could have been part of maybe some kind of MK Ultra, like when you do a regression in hypnosis, I wonder if it's possible to inject fake memories in someone.
I think so.
People will say, oh, no, it's impossible. But what is more plausible, this or maybe you work on an alien craft? Mm-hmm. But the thing is, this theory doesn't hold up anymore because he only drank that liquid once, and he went back and forth multiple times at different times to work, because he was on call. Sometimes he was working like for a few days, then he went back home for a week or two, then he got a call again, brought back for another few days. So that wouldn't work because, if he would have had to drink that liquid before every time he got exposed, like to these this material, maybe that would have held up. But because the fact that he only did it once in the beginning and he had to come back and forth, I don't know, maybe
they would have to implant fake memories throughout a long period of time, right?
I guess so. I don't know if it's doable.
I don't know if that is either.
The thing is, I believe that the military industrial complex has access to certain technology that we do not have. I think they have their hands on certain technology that it takes maybe decades for us to have access on. So maybe they have a way to do that. I know they experiment on different soldiers, on hypnosis and psychedelic drugs and different programs. That's one theory. Or maybe he really did work on a retrieve alien craft. That was from, he says in the report, it was Zeta Reticuli. It was a binary star system very far away from...
He said that they told him it was from there.
Yeah, he read a report.
He read the report.
But it was impossible for him to know if what was written in the report was accurate, because sometimes it's only information that is passed down to you, and if there's a leak, they can trace it back to you.
Oh yeah,
you understand?
Yeah.
So maybe it was not true, but he says that everything that was written in the report about what he was working on was accurate. So maybe it was accurate, maybe it wasn't. I don't know. I want to believe.
If I was to bet, I would just say that really happened. Mm-hmm. Because there's so much bullshit out there now where it's just like, who knows what you can take, who knows what's real or who knows what's fake. It's just like, it's like playing roulette, with what's true or not. So, and that was so early, and he's been so consistent.
Yeah.
And, he had such a weird past, like before that, like with, I heard that he owned some sort of like brothel or something. So if you were the CIA and you wanted to pick some guy, he's the perfect guy to pick because you can deny him so easily.
That's right. That's what he says. He says the reason why he believed he was picked to work on that project, it's because not because he was the most competent. There was guys that were just as competent and maybe more competent than he is. But he's clearly a brilliant man, like very educated. Mm-hmm. But he says to me that the reason why he was picked, he believes, is because he was easy to be discredited. If something happened, you could say, "Oh, he's bullshit," or look at his past crime, Or
that makes him the perfect candidate.
Exactly.
Yeah,
they might have planned this.
Yeah, I think they could have.
It's fun to speculate, though.
It is. It is very fun.
Yeah, man.
Now, didn't you say that you had some sort of like weird experiences when you were young?
When I was young,
this was on your first Joe Rogan.
Yeah,
he was like drilling down on you, and you were like, no.
I was so uncomfortable at the time. I didn't know how to react, and I don't know how he got that information. He must have talked to some of my friend, or I don't know how he got that information. But when I was young, I used to have nightmare. And I used to tell my parents, hey, I think there's monsters, or, I used to draw them, Mm-hmm. And it lasts for a long time, since I was like a kid until I would say early teenager. But there's a phenomenon that is called sleep paralysis.
Yeah.
That happened to many people. And for me, it makes more sense. It's more plausible to think that that's really what happened. Like I was maybe in a semi-conscious state in the middle of a dream, and I got paralyzed, and I imagine all those things. However, I cannot recall exactly what happened. But I remember that I remembered.
Yeah.
And what freaked me out is that I saw different documentaries about alien abduction after, when I was about, early teenager. And a lot of those victims claim that their memory got erased.
Yeah.
So it made me freaked out a little bit. I was like, holy shit, what if, that what happened? But I mean, I don't have any evidence. It's only in my head.
I used to have crazy night terrors when I was a kid. No, never thought it was like alien abduction or anything, but I just had like, I don't know if it would be sleep paralysis, but it was just like, I remember just, laying in bed, lights off, pitch black, just being so goddamn terrified. And like I would have these nightmares where I was like awake but asleep, and I would sleepwalk. And like I was literally unmanageable. With my parents said I was unmanageable for years because I was having these crazy night terrors.
Well, maybe it happened to you.
But I maybe, or I think it could be just something in just like the undeveloped human brain. Yeah. When kids are young, kids talk to ghosts. Kids do all kinds of crazy stuff.
Maybe we have. The logical part of our brain is not molded yet, so we have more creativity, more imagination. Maybe that's what it is for me as well. And sometimes we have traumatic experience, maybe watching a movie, and we picked up those information that we're exposed to and make it up as our own experience. That is more plausible than saying that we've been abducted, but it's fun to speculate.
Nothing says springtime like that cool pollinated wind flowing through your hair. But if your confidence is as thin as that hairline, then it's time to regrow your hair with the power of red light. The Iristore Elite is clinically proven to help regrow hair using 300 lasers and 200 LEDs that send light therapy directly to your scalp. In a double-blind clinical study, nearly every participant saw increase in hair growth with this technology. The Iristore Elite uses VIXO lasers that feature wider beams of red light wavelengths that reactivates dormant follicles to restore your natural hair. And the LEDs provide broader uniform coverage to fill in the gaps. And it all comes with a beautiful money-back guarantee. It's comfortable, it's lightweight, I don't feel goofy when I'm wearing it. In fact, whenever I wear it, people won't stop bothering me because they also want to try it. I've had people on this podcast talking about red light before, so this technology is very reassuring. For maximum effect, bundle with the Revive Plus Max Growth Kit and Biotin Gummies, which works great with the red light wavelengths. If you've been waiting for the right time to upgrade your hair routine, the spring bundle savings is it. Iristore is offering big savings right now, and with the code DannyJones at iristore.com, you'll get an exclusive discount on the Iristore Elite. That's code Danny Jones at the letter IRESTORE.com. Please help support the show and tell them we sent you. Give your hair the upgrade it's been waiting for.
Later on in my life, I saw a UAP, something that I cannot explain. I'm not an astrophysicist. I was driving my car. It's about maybe almost 18 years ago. Yeah, Rashad Evans. Yeah.
Oh, no, I haven't had him on.
So I was with him. I was in Albuquerque. I was with Ali Abdelaziz, who's the manager of Khabib Nurmagomedov, Islam Makhachev. I was with Mike Van Arsdale, who's another fighter in front of driving the car. And another guy who was there, Alejandro, a Mexican fighter, but I lost track of him. We were together in a car, and we all saw something. I don't know what it was. I'm not saying it's alien, but we saw something that we couldn't explain. It didn't look like anything that we have seen before. And all five of us, when it happened, we were on the highway driving. It was dark. We were like, holy shit, what happened? Oh my God. And I remember, because it's very strange, when they talk about what they've seen, it does not resemble of what I've seen. It's like we're lying. We make up a story that we all have different experience. So for me, it looked like a greenish triangular light orb sort of flying towards us. Then it changed direction. Then it changed again, and it skipped away. And it sort of disappeared.
Where again?
It was in Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Yeah.
I was training for one of my training camp. But another thing too, that when you talk about these things and you're you're all MMA fighters, people will right away say, oh, you're all brain damaged, you guys are crazy. But we really saw something. Maybe it was a test flight from I don't know, some kind of very advanced craft from the military, but it didn't move like anything I've seen before. And the way I just described it to you is different than how, for example, Rashad or Mike Van Arsdale or even Ali Abdelaziz or the other guy describe it.
Interesting. How did they describe it?
Well, some says, I can't remember, some says it lasted for a minute. For me, I think it lasted for maybe 10, 15 seconds maybe. Some says it was blue. I think for me, if I remember correctly, it was green, but I can't, it's weird. I can't, because it's so weird. There's no frame of reference, no wings, nothing. I can't really remember what I've seen because there's no frame of reference.
Right.
But we all saw something. I don't know what it was. Yeah. But if it was like a comet or anything, it didn't move like a comet. It was like moving different direction, then it changed and it skip out. And
well, that part of the continent is like very common to see that kind of stuff, you know. And there's also lots of military bases around there that have been testing stuff forever. And
a lot of UAPs are linked to military base, you know, with nuclear weapon storage. You know, a lot of time it's seen over military area where they have like nuclear weapon, like it's like if we're being monitored or something. I don't know.
It seems like the nuclear stuff is the common denominator, right, between most of the UFO sightings, and not just around nuclear missile bases, but also around nuclear power plants. There was like the Japan Fukushima meltdown, UFO sightings all around that. They even like have UFO monuments around there now. Even Chernobyl, there was documented sites around there. And then even in South Africa in 1993, I think there was a famous case in Rua, the school.
Ariel School.
The Ariel School. There was a nuclear plant or a mine or something really close to there. So yeah, we actually just the other day I had this guy in here, Robert Solis, who was working at one of the military bases in Wyoming, I think it was. And he was telling the story about how in the 70s, in like 78 or something, a UFO came and shut down his entire missile site twice in 3 days. It's like, and these guys aren't kooks.
Yeah. There's a report that the same thing happened in Russia during the Cold War.
Yes.
And it activates instead because they have
it turned them on.
Yeah, they have a different system than the American, and they turn it on, and at the last moment they turn it on and then turn it off at the last moment. I mean, it's in the report.
Yeah.
I want to believe, but man, it's you know, we don't have the strong evidence. I mean, there's a lot. There's a lot of evidence, but there's no proof. You know, evidence is not a proof. You know, in a court of law, a lot of this like would automatically justify that UFOs. It's a real phenomenon, but what they are is the thing. It's already like people that think UFOs does not exist. There's no UAPs because they're late. They're not up to date. Even President Barack Obama, Trump have talked about it openly. Yeah. There is a phenomenon, but we don't know what they are. It's damn fun to speculate.
It could be multiple things. It could be a number of things. Like it could be some sort of natural, like there's earthquake lights that come up like before earthquakes that look like UFOs. You know, who knows what other kind of like weird natural atmospheric things could create stuff like this. It could be some fucking breakaway survivor human civilization from that survived a catastrophe a long time ago. Now they live under the ocean. It could be like super secret DARPA military stuff. It could be all of it. It could be time travelers. Yeah. Who knows? It could be Zeta Reticuli, or maybe just a little bit of all of it combined.
Our own consciousness that creates something like it's very strange. I was with Jeremy.
Yeah, that's true.
I was with Jeremy Corbell, who's an investigative journalist. He's one of the main guy that when the news come out, it's very often him and George Knapp.
I'm familiar with him. He's great.
And I went to his house, and he was very kind to show us video evidence. man, you should see these things. They're picked up from Navy warship. You see orbs that the warship locked on it, like it locked. It's AI. It locked, and then it goes to the left. Then it tried to follow the orbs. Then it catch up to it, and then it zip back to the right, and disappear. I'm like, what the hell is this?
Is this stuff that's not available to the public?
I will be. I think it is available, okay. Or it will be released soon. By the time this thing comes out, you know, so he has a ton of stuff that are very interesting, and it was very, very nice, very kind to show us. Like it's unbelievable. So he's wow. There's really a phenomenon. It's very.
We had this dude on recently. What was his name? Peter Lavenda, who was just on here, who's written a bunch of books about this stuff his whole life. For probably like 50 years, he's been writing about this stuff. And just a historian on the history of like the United States military, covert operations, like black budget stuff, UFOs, the occult, NASA, and all this stuff. He knows all. He's genius. And I was asking him about like, I was like, if you really wanted to like study this stuff and find the truth, I'm like, how would you do it? How would you go about finding out the truth? Like, and not, if you were, let's say, if you're like in charge of the CIA or the government, and you want to know what's really going on. He was saying, he goes, if I wanted to know what the truth was, he goes, I would study the human mind and human consciousness of the people that are experiencing this stuff. If I really wanted to go straight to the truth. He thinks there's some sort of conduit between the people who experience this stuff all the time or have experienced it a handful of times. There's something going on with those people and their consciousness that is directly connected to this stuff. And he thinks he goes, thinking about it as far as in like a nuts and bolts space travel way, like space-time way, is the wrong way of thinking about it.
Yeah. It's very interesting.
I've never heard anyone explain it like that to me before.
Yeah.
It blew my fucking mind.
But a lot of people claim that they're saying that if something that big would not be able, the government will not be able to hide it. But I disagree, because if it's well compartmented, I think they can't hide it from the public. If they really found or recuperate alien craft or alien bodies, as they claim, the whistleblowers, and it's hidden somewhere. I think if they compartmented everything, they could hide certain things.
Sure.
I mean, it's only speculation, but look at Paperclip. The project
Operation Paperclip.
Yeah, after the Second World War, you know, when they brought all the Nazi in work for the space program, you know, Werner von Braun and all that. You know, now
NASA
we know it's true.
was created by Nazis and occultists.
100%. And people don't believe that. You can look it up. It's true. It's true.
Yeah,
you know,
it's insane.
They hide it. The Manhattan Project, the atomic bomb, they hid it because they compartmentalize everything.
Yeah.
Maybe the alien craft is the same thing. I mean, who knows? It's fun to speculate.
The Nazis were obsessed with this shit. The alien stuff and the UFO stuff, and like we're trying to reverse engineer and build all kinds of crazy time travel machines. And there was the not the Wright brothers, who were the brothers that came up with the flying wing? I don't know why I'm blanking on these guys' names. Anyways, these guys came from there, and they the Horton brothers. They had the Horton flying wing and the other objects that they were using that looked like space flying objects or whatever, and they disappeared to like South America after Germany fell, and then all the Nazis came here and started doing all the atomic bomb manufacturing and fuck, man, it's like the Nazis didn't lose World War II. Germany lost World War II. The Nazis just came over here.
yeah, a lot of them,
and continued America, man.
Yeah, it's very sad. Yeah,
it's insane.
Yeah, but then after the war, you have to think who's the next enemy. The Soviet, you know, then the Cold War start. Who's the enemy of my enemy? We're gonna use the enemy of my enemy, and you know, I don't know. It's so evil. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, the Cold War just like changed everything. It's like it went from kinetic war to boots on the ground, just fighting, to this weird covert shadow wars where it's all spying on people and trying to get leverage and manipulate the media so the public has it's like you're casting shadows on a wall to try to paint a reality for the people. And then on the other hand, you're just doing all this crazy spy war, getting leverage on different countries, getting blackmail on countries, doing arms deals, maybe even doing deals with the countries that you're telling your population are evil, and just for the purpose of bankers making more money and politicians climbing ladders and getting more power. Yeah. And I think that's kind of like we're experiencing the long-term effects of that right now with all this Epstein stuff coming out and this Iran war happening, where it's like, Jesus Christ, man, I don't think we're the good guys anymore.
It's hard to have faith. Yeah, it's hard to have faith in your institution when you see that happen. If I would have a gun on my head and try and tell me what's really is going on, I would probably think that the military industrial complex, there are certain bureaucrats in the government that control the narrative, and there will always be war because we need war. They need war to make money.
Yeah.
I think it's Eisenhower that warned everyone before he left, and nobody pay attention to what he says. But if you go back, you can watch it even on YouTube, his speech, he warns that if we let the military and the war be profitable and the military industrial complex in charge, that's not good.
No.
You know? And he's the general, he's a pro-war guy. So if you think someone would not say something like this, it would be him.
Right.
But he said it.
Yeah.
It's very strange.
It's very prophetic.
I mean, very strange.
Yeah.
And you see what's happened in today's world. There's a war that ends. There's another one that starts immediately. There's always a war. There's always, I think whether if it's public or if it's private, I think there will always be. It's sad to say, but I sort of lost faith and I think if there's money to be made,
I think not just you and me, man. I think a lot of military people are losing faith too. You know, like I hear stories all the time on podcasts and on people that I know and that I talk to and come on this podcast who spent their lives, you know, fighting in Iraq and Afghanistan and, you know, over in the Middle East after 9/11, and they come back and like see that it was all for nothing. These guys have like, first of all, they've literally wasted all that time. They've put themselves through so much psychological trauma, you know, not just from seeing so much death, so much goddamn death and destruction every day. And also being in that, like, which you know about, being in that hyper vigilant state, like when you're in the fucking octagon and you're fighting somebody, like being in that every day, but with a gun pointed at somebody.
It's even worse.
You come back, you basically retire from the military, and now you live here and you're trying to get like a normal 9-to-5 job, and you're depressed, and you know, these people's fucking lives are getting ruined. And most of those dudes,
they did it for the right reason, because they want to protect the people they love, for a patriot, you know?
Yeah.
And now the government turned their back on them.
Yeah.
You know? It's very sad.
It is really sad.
That's the Eisenhower. Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah. Was Bernie posted it? Yeah, man.
I my English suck, you know, so I'm sorry for everyone.
It's getting better.
It's better, but
I've seen the evolution of it.
well, you know, like we talk about this Eisenhower clip. It's something that I was exposed later in my life, you know, like all this stuff, because you know, in French, I had the traduction version, you know, in French. But when I was able to get my hand and listen to the original one, I was like, man, this is crazy. You know?
Yeah. It is pretty fucking wild to see all these things coming true from so long ago, you know? Have you seen the, my brother was, I was having a conversation with my brother on the phone this morning. We were talking kind of like about this stuff and like AI and all that. And, you know, people's like reality has been turned so upside down, where like have you seen the videos? There's videos online of Hitler giving his speeches, and there's like, they redub it into English.
Oh yeah,
And people are saying like, "Oh my God, he was such a great guy. Listen to this. He seems like such a positive dude.
Evil genius. You know, like, but an evil one.
But my question is like, how do you know AI is not changing all that? I don't know fucking German. I don't have time to go learn German to verify this. It's dangerous, bro.
Yeah, the way he was able to bring everyone on board, like manipulate everyone, like it's scary. Yeah, but when you hear that, what you talk about that clip, you think he goes like fuck, they kill the Jewish.
Right, it sounds like that.
Yeah,
right.
but the way he talks is very eloquent and very, you know, like if you're in Germany in a crisis and you're exposed to this, you see him as a savior. I mean, you can get blind by what he says, and then after you found out that like everything he's done, like the guy is a pure evil. You know, it's insane. You know,
right?
But it's very interesting when they translate the speech. I'm like, what the hell, man? It's crazy.
See if you can find the video clip of it, Steve. It's nuts. And see if you can. I think you. I don't know. I don't know if YouTube does the thing where like, because I don't trust anything I see on Google or YouTube, so I don't know if I would trust them to verify its reality or not, of like the authenticity of it. You might have to like run it. You might have to like run one of those videos through AI, or something, or just give it to like a Greek professor.
Oh yeah, that's a one.
Here you go, headphones.
We, that is the democracies.
Play it.
Oh wow.
Just give us like 30 seconds of it.
It is a shameful spectacle to see how the whole democratic world is oozing sympathy for the poor, tormented Jewish people, but remains hard-hearted and obdurate when it comes to helping them, which is surely, in view of its attitude, an obvious duty. The arguments that are brought up as an excuse for not helping them actually speak for us Germans and Italians. For this is what they say. 1. We, that is the democracies, are not in a position to take in the Jews. Yet in these empires there are not 10 people to the square kilometer, while Germany, with her 135 inhabitants to the square kilometer, is...
This guy's got to be so tired after doing these speeches. After doing a speech like that for an hour, how do you have energy to do anything?
Apparently he was on meth and all kinds of drugs.
Lots of fucking meth.
I think it's the Second World War that they went through the Ardennes in France. When they got to France, they got so fast that nobody expect them to be there that fast.
Blitz, yeah.
Yeah, because they had different dose of drug for let's say the tank driver.
Pervitin, yeah.
He was like for a long, like they couldn't sleep maybe for 2 days, like non-stop driving. Like it's crazy, man.
Yeah, and apparently that's how they got through France so quick, because all the French soldiers were drinking wine, and these fucking German Nazis hopped up on meth, just started ramming through. Like,
that's crazy. Man.
But at the end of it, when the meth wears off, the guys were like worthless, you know, because it like sucked up all this dopamine or whatever that it uses in your brain. And these guys were just like, they were able to fight for like days on end with no sleep. But then after that, they would be useless for like a few days.
That would be fucked up. Yeah,
that would be super fucked up.
Man, it must have been a crazy, scary time to live in, man. If you're, let's say you're a Jewish person living in Europe. Yeah. I have a friend. His name is George Renitz. He's gonna turn 94 years old. He was in a concentration camp. I'm actually going to see him this week.
Oh wow!
I'm doing an episode. I'm launching a YouTube channel in a few weeks, and I'm having an episode on him. And the guy, man, he's sharp, man. It's
really?
Oh, he's unbelievable. Very successful, very wealthy, healthy. Like, how can you come back after you live through that trauma? And put your life in order. I mean, like the guy for me is one of my idols. He's one of my biggest inspirations. Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Yeah, some of the people that had been through that and come out of it were like some of the most interesting people ever. You know, so it does something to you when you go through something like that, you know? Like I read that book by Viktor Frankl, was Man's Search for Meaning, years ago. And I remember just like, I could never forget that book. Just seeing the stuff that those people saw and being able to escape, you know, like barely just make it out. And then, you know, you don't take anything in life for granted after that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It's insane. You know, like they live through that. You know what I mean? Like, I wonder how he see the world, you know, like I wonder how he, like, People cannot.
You just wake up and you're fucking happy to be alive.
Man, all the people they're dead. Like your family, and then you have to survive this. How do you stand up from that?
Right.
It's unbelievable. Yeah.
I've been taking a mushroom that's psychoactive, but not psychedelic. You've seen it in art, stories, and folklore forever. It's called Amanita muscaria. Although at extreme doses, it can be dissociative. I never would have touched Amanita if it wasn't for Amantara, because they actually educate people instead of just pushing products. And it's nothing like the sketchy gas station stuff you see. Small doses put you in a calm, focused, almost flow state headspace. Medium doses, it's more relaxing and sedating, great for sleep and dreams. Most people refer to it as nature's wine, which isn't a perfect analogy, but it's pretty close at the same time. I take a few of the Amanita capsules most days after work, and it makes a house full of screaming toddlers far more tolerable for me. It feels like I have infinite patience. Imagine being in a stressful environment and not feeling triggered. That's what Amanita does for me. Amantara is the trusted Amanita supplier in the USA. Totally legal, no synthetics, and 50,000 happy customers. They have the largest Amanita selection from oils to chocolate to the raw caps. It's not just a store or a single product. These guys are helping pave the way for new legal medicinal psychoactive mushrooms in the US. And I'm really happy to be a part of it. Just go to amantara.com/go/DJ and use the code DJ22 for 22% off your first order. That's AMENTARA.com/go/DJ. And don't forget to use the code DJ22 for 22% off your first order. It's spring. That means it's time to clean out your fridge of forgotten leftovers and old condiments. It's time to restock those shelves with the refreshing selections from ButcherBox. For over a decade, ButcherBox has led the industry with meat and seafood that's antibiotic-free, hormone-free, and independently verified. Because when it comes to fueling your body, quality isn't extra. Clean, whole protein means better support for strength, metabolism, and the steady all-day energy we're all chasing. ButcherBox sends over 100 premium protein choices: grass-fed beef, free-range organic chicken, crate-free pork, and wild-caught seafood. Everything is hormone and antibiotic-free, and it all meets the strict standards, whether it's a filet mignon or chicken nuggets. I love being able to customize my box each week. I usually go for the ribeyes and salmon, but sometimes I like to throw in some chicken thighs to get me through the weekend. Everything shows up frozen, vacuum sealed, and ready to go. And no grocery store chaos, especially during spring break. They're a certified B Corp, which means they care about how animals are raised and how the team is treated and how they impact the planet. And as an exclusive offer, new customers can get their choice between chicken breast or top sirloin for a year, or ground beef for life, plus $20 off when you go to butcherbox.com/Danny. That's right, your choice of chicken breast or top sirloin for a year, or ground beef for life, plus $20 off your first box and free shipping always. That's butcherbox.com/Danny. And don't forget to use our link so they know we sent you. Looking at those Nazis that were all hopped up on meth during the war, I think they're still doing that in this Russia-Ukraine war. They're apparently all the Russians are using like in some new age sort of like performance enhancing drug, which is similar to meth, to like help them on the battlefield. And the dudes on the other side are using like psychedelics to give them like more edge detection, like when they're on the battlefield. Because I guess there's certain psychedelics that like help you navigate 3D space better.
Really?
And I think one of the psychedelics they're using is Ibogaine in Ukraine. And apparently it's really helping.
Wow.
So
it's used as a performance
enhancing drug. Wow. Yeah, for soldiers.
I know in the Olympic game, in shooting, they cut guys on performance enhancing drugs.
Really?
Yeah, they do. Yeah, people think it's only in lifting, running.
What kind of drugs are they taking?
I'm not sure if it's something that prevent them from shaking or if it's to focus better, like Adderall or
yeah.
It would be interesting. I don't know if we can Google it, but
yeah,
there's a drug that the shooters use.
I remember when I saw something about the shooting in the Olympic Games, I was really shocked to see what country was winning at that. Like there was one, it's a weird country that wins in shooting. Remember, we were just talking about this the other day. What country was that?
I know a guy from Turkey won.
Maybe it was Turkey.
Yeah,
that's what it was. Yeah. It was Turkey.
Yeah.
I was like, I never expected Turkey to have the best shooters.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a skill. Yeah.
I learned recently that NFL players take Adderall. I was like, I would never expect Adderall to be an athletic enhancement.
Well, I think it's for focus, right? Is Adderall?
Adderall is typically what like college students or like writers take.
An exam, right?
Yeah, they're studying, they're trying to cram for an exam.
Yeah.
Or like people that are like trying to, finish a essay or a book, like more like, trying to get tasks done, like cognitive tasks. I've never heard of athletes using Adderall.
I know that because I never use performance enhancing drug, but I have trained many times with different training partners that are my friends and openly said it to me, like when they are on cycles.
Right.
And bro, I can tell you, it makes such a crazy big difference.
Really?
Oh, it's insane. Like some guy that say, oh, it's me who throw the punch, it's not the like bullshit. You would maybe not have had the vigilance or the clairvoyance to react if you would not have been on that drug. You know what I mean? It makes a crazy difference. So yes, it helps for sport like lifting, running, but it also helps for a sport that are more technical, like combat sport.
What are the most, before USADA came into the picture, what were like the most popular performance enhancing drugs for fighters?
I liked the performance enhancing drug for fighters. A lot of times, from what I
propranolol. Propranolol, that's a blood pressure medicine, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, for the shooters,
pistol
right?
shooter was stripped of his silver medal and bronze medal at the Beijing Olympics for using propranolol to manage performance anxiety.
It's a non-selective beta blocker used to treat high blood
beta
pressure.
blocker, right? Yeah.
All right, there we go.
Maybe
That's
like
nuts.
Makes you calmer.
Oh,
under
because it gives
pressure.
you steady hands.
Maybe it slows down your
Slows
heartbeat.
the heart rate, gets rid of anxiety. Huh.
Yeah, there's drug for everything. I'm telling you, there's. It makes you not only stronger, more stamina. It makes you a better performer. Like it's crazy. Like
what? But for fighting though, like what's the most optimal?
Very often, I mean, guys that use performance enhancing drugs for fighting, very often they will take something, I think, that increase their level of testosterone. Because if you have more testosterone,
like
you're
natural
more
testosterone.
Yeah. Like you're obviously more aggressive. You recuperate faster.
Right.
More testosterone equal more muscle, bigger bone density. But also they will take something to increase their stamina. Like a lot of time some kind of mixed cocktail with EPO. I'm not I don't have the expertise, to know that stuff by heart. But I from what I hear from guys that are from what I've seen from guys that have been cut using them, and I hear from guys that are openly telling me what they take.
Right.
It's very often stuff that has to do to elevate your level of testosterone and your stamina. But it also makes you stronger, stronger, faster, more powerful, more aggressive. But it also makes you more creative.
Yeah, you would think just being more aggressive wouldn't help.
Look, I'm gonna tell you the truth. I was curious about this whole testosterone level thing when guys start getting popped at the UFC, when they implement the USADA, you know,
that's when you came back, right?
Yeah, but even before that, when guys got popped with the TRT, some guys got popped and they say, oh, it's a medical exemption because I'm on TRT, which is bullshit, by the way. I'm totally against it. You know, if you compete, why would you take TRT? This I disagree completely. So I was curious. I was like, man, I'm going to do the test myself to see my level of testosterone because I never use performance enhancing drug, but I want to see. So I did it when I was not competing in, off season. I always train. When I was off season, it wasn't the window, but the higher window of the average, Like I had a good level, like a little bit higher than the average male.
How old were you at that point?
I was maybe in my 30s, But then when I did it also, I tested when I was in training camp. And guess what? When I was in training camp, my level dropped below the average.
Right.
Below the average. And
Yeah, the more you
I
train.
realized I was like, man, is it normal? It's like I felt like I was like, man, is it normal? And the doctor told me, the endocrinologist said, yes, because you're more stressed,
Right.
your volume of training rises. So because you're more stressed, you have more cortisol. Cortisol is the enemy of testosterone. So when one normally go up, the other one goes down. So I was like, man, is it normal? Is that, yeah, it's completely normal because you don't sleep as good. You know, you're more stressed, more anxiety. And it's naturally supposed to go down lower than the average. If it doesn't do that, it's not normal. So there's guys, when they're in training camp, they boost that up to be higher, like in the higher average.
Yeah.
Which is cheating, man. It's
They're still doing it today, you think?
100%. It's freaking
How do they do it
corrupted
without getting
bullshit,
caught?
you know? Like there's where there will be money, there will always be corruption. It's better than what it used to be. When USADA got in, like when I was competing in the first part of my career, it was a free for all. It was like a Far West, like it was like in your face. It was to be cut. You needed to be stupid, you know, like if you know, because you know you've been tested that day of the fight, you need to be stupid if you get cut in the old days. Then they make it harder, you know, they start implementing random testing. But even when it's random testing, it's very easy to trick, because let's say I have a whereabout to fill up, you know, when the USADA came in, you have to fill up a form to tell them exactly where you at every time. So if they randomly show up, you're there. But let's say, because I figure out, I know how someone would cheat, you know. Let's say you're gonna get injected by a certain substance, you know, that will probably last a few days in your system. But the effect of it will last maybe for a month, you know, but it will be detectable for maybe a few days. So what you do in your whereabout, you will say that you're going in Antarctica for a trip, which is not true. But you say something like that, like, or in a country where it's corrupted, or where like, you know, they're not gonna pay someone to go find you,
going to North Korea.
Yeah, or you know, I'm going on vacation, I don't know, somewhere like you know, like. So, but you're not really going on vacation. You're going to get your juice, you know? And then for these few days, you're out of the grid. So even if they come, they pay someone to find you where you're supposed to be. What happened if you're not there? They're going to call you, hey, you're not there. You're not automatically banned. You have 1 strike, and you're allowed to have 3 strikes.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So there's a lot of room for bullshit like this. So and I'm not trying to put the system down to insult anyone. I'm just saying it because I think it's wrong to criticize a system if you don't bring alternative ways of doing it better. What I'm saying is very hard to have a perfect system to catch people who cheat. Is very, very hard. And where there's money, there will always be corruption.
Well, why don't they just let it to where all people are allowed to use them? Like, or maybe have 2 different categories where dudes can fight natural or dudes can fight on roids.
Have you seen the enhanced game?
I've heard about it. I haven't seen it.
It's very interesting. There's a guy that won. He's actually right now the fastest swimmer that ever swim. I believe the distance was 100 meter or 200 meter, like a very short distance. He was purposely given performance enhancing drug. There were 2 competitors. One was, I think, a former champion. One was an elite, not a former champion, but an elite. You know, that is now retired. And man, the guy who was not a former champion, the elite, came back, freaking beat the present world record. So when people say, "Oh, it doesn't make a difference," that's the cheaters' excuse. This is bullshit, man. It makes a huge difference. I've felt it. I've trained with guys on it, and when they're on it and when they are not on it is huge, man. That it's not even comparable. It's not even comparable.
What's the biggest difference though? Like, is it the power? Is it the endurance?
Power, strength, endurance. endurance, creativity.
Really?
Also the
Creativity?
your brain, you're sharper, you're because we have a say in for example, you do jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
When you get tired, every black belt become a white belt. When you get exhausted, tired, your level your level drop. When you're tired, man, this is the base. This is your foundation. When you're exhausted, you're not thinking of how I can attack my opponent, how I can defend. You're not thinking of your.
Sure.
You're not sound. You're not sharp. Technique on your technicality on your techniques. You're thinking how to survive. How I'm gonna breathe, and that the floodgates open.
Mm-hmm.
So if you got that covered, you have more room for creativity. It makes you just a better athlete.
Right.
100%.
Now, what about like cognitive enhancing drugs? Like, are there any sort of drugs that people take that like similar to Adderall that keep people just like more focused or dialed in?
Well, that's what it does. The when you take
that's what the other stuff does.
Like that's what the thing do in MMA.
Mm-hmm.
If you got all that covered, you're not gonna get tired. You're sharp. You feel like you're hungry.
Mm-hmm.
How many times I woke up during a training camp and I'm like, fuck that shit. I don't want to be there. Like almost every day. Almost every day of my training camp, it sucked because I had to go through very uncomfortable days, knowing that when I get to the gym, there's an army of killers who's there to trying to beat me up. I have to go through them every day, and I'm not motivated. I'm like, shit, I have to go through that every day until the fight comes.
Didn't you say like your trainer would bribe your opponents to try to like beat you during training camp?
Yeah, well, there's days you keep the fight for fight night, but there's days that, for example, when I was training for a fight, the Friday was the hardcore sparring day. So for 8 weeks, I go through a cycle that, like a Monday, Tuesday, like every day I have a different schedule, that involve striking, combat sport, and grappling, combat sport. I work on specific things I need to work on, depending of the problem I need to face, depending who I'm fighting. But when comes Friday is the ultimate showdown, the testing ground.
Okay.
And the guys that are brought in, their goal is to knock me out or to beat the shit out of me, And my coach Ferraz, he says, hey, I'm gonna pay you. You wanted to pay my training partner, or because sometime when I was champion for a long time, I had the sort of a status of sort of a legend, and some guys were intimidated. But when I brought someone in, Ferraz was telling them, we're gonna pay you extra money. I'm gonna stop the gym and praise you if you score a takedown or you beat up George, or you know what I mean?
God damn, that's
to put more stress
bro.
on me because you're trying to recreate that stressful environment.
Mm-hmm.
And it was extremely uncomfortable. And I had to go through that shit. But if you're on performance enhancing drug, you wake up the morning, it still sucks because people are waiting for you, but you're more, you have more testosterone, you're more hungry. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like guys that some guys that I've trained with, I can't say the name, they've told me, because I ask them sometimes, I say, what's the difference, man? Like, tell me how it feels like. They're like, George, you have no freaking idea. He's like, I'm taking the elevator and I hear the song in the elevator and it pissed me off. I'm like, bro, I don't want this shit happen. Because it changes you not only as a fighter, but in your everyday life.
Those guys need to adjust their fucking dose, bro. You're on a little too much there, buddy.
But you need to adjust your priority, right?
Right.
Would you rather be the best fighter in the world or a good person and destroy your personal life? I'd rather have my personal life in order and be as good as I could be as a fighter, but I don't... My family, my life is my priority.
Yeah, that's the crazy thing about you is like you're one of the GOATs and you like didn't put all your eggs in that basket. It's like, and even post career, you've like probably kept yourself together better than any fighter ever.
Well, it's because I planned it. Unfortunately, especially in I'm saying not only in MMA but in boxing, professional combat sport, the athlete, they retire way too late, and normally they are forced to retire. It's not them that they retire on their own. They are forced to retire, and it's very sad. I planned it. I'm like, I'm beating the game. I don't want a game to beat me. I took advantage of it. You know what I mean? And that's how it should be. You know, you don't want to get, because at the end of the day, you're going to get screwed no matter what.
Nobody wants to be Michael Jordan on the Wizards.
They tell me, they will tell you, pass the torch. Fuck that. Not passing the torch. I'm leaving with the freaking torch, you know? I'm leaving with the title. And I know a lot of fan will be like, oh, we knew it. Like, man, if the young guys listen to me, that's how it should be done. Don't pass the torch. Retire on your own when you're on top of your craft.
Do you think it has more to do with people chasing money, or do you think it has anything to do with like losing the meaning or losing that adrenaline, that rush that you get when you're in the ring facing off with somebody?
It could be both. It could be also I would say a sort of an identity crisis. Example, fighting is what I do, is not who I am. I don't define myself by fighting. When I fight, I'm GSP. The guy who's talking to you right now is Georges St-Pierre. I'm a different person than when I step in the octagon. It's like Batman and Bruce Wayne. Peter Parker, Spider-Man. You know, you need to be able to differentiate these two people. It's very important. And a lot of athletes, because I speak to a lot of different athletes. For example, I talk to the Toronto Raptors, and a lot of them, I ask them, I have a one-on-one conversation with some of the players. I'm like, what is your passion? You know, and a lot of them sometimes, it's basketball. I'm like, no, what do you love? What it's important to have a side passion. For me, I love dinosaurs. I'm very passionate about paleontology, dinosaurs. I'm a UAP geek too. I love UAPs, you know, stuff like that. I have a lot of other passion on the side. My life doesn't only evolve around fighting. Fighting is what I did as a business to make money. Like, I like the concept of the art of war and everything, the science of it. I love it. I can use that and implement those same concepts into my everyday life. But that's not only who I am. But the problem with a lot of the guys, they see themselves as the guy who's fighting in the octagon. You're not that guy.
They try to bring that into the rest of their lives.
Man. You're not him. You're more than him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it takes a lot of discipline sometimes to step away from that, because you know, when you win a fight, it's such a high, man. I can't describe what it feels like. I never take a high like drugs and like high drugs, but I'm sure it's better than any crazy drug that you take. You know, like the rush that you have is like, man, the feeling of achievement is just unbelievable. But you had to go through that discomfort zone before that is unbearable in order to reach that high, that climax. You know?
Yeah.
It's very hard to explain. It's a love-hate relationship.
No, it makes sense, man.
But some guys, they love it. Like they get addicted to this. And then after, when they retire, unfortunately, a lot of them, they get on drugs because they try to recreate that. You'll never gonna be able to recreate that high again. What you can do is to try to reinvent yourself and have your priority oriented towards another goal.
Yeah, and it's not just in combat sports too. It's in other, like the NFL and those types of sports where dudes, like, they'll retire and they just go crazy.
Absolutely.
And they get in violent altercations and end up like killing or fucking beating the shit out of somebody, you know? Like, you hear those stories every fucking day.
I love mixed martial art, the sport, the science of it, the camaraderie I had with my training partner, winning the fight, you know, the freedom that it gives me. There's a reason why I did it, to have the freedom.
Yeah.
I didn't do it because I love to fight. Fighting was the worst part of it.
Right.
But I had to, in order to propel me where I wanted to be in my life, to have the wealth, the health. I'm very lucky, I'm healthy, but to have the wealth and the freedom, That's why I did it. I didn't do it because I love it to fight. I can't care less about fighting, you know. I just wanted to have the freedom.
You still actively train all the time, right?
Yeah, I love training, and it's very therapeutic for me.
What type of training do you do the most?
I mix it up. I train in different combat sports. I do from karate, which is my base. I do traditional karate, point fight karate, like striking. I spar with the guys sometimes. Still, some guys they have fight coming up. Sometimes my coach is like, "Hey George, can you give him a round? Show him who's that I still got it." You know?
Yeah.
I still have it, but yeah. So I do that. I do a lot of gymnastic, kinesthetics, sprinting. I love sprinting.
Sprinting. I just started sprinting too.
Yeah.
And I've noticed like a huge difference in my energy level. Like I watched this podcast on Mark Bell. Mark Bell did a podcast with this woman who was talking about how sprinting basically like gives you more energy and gives you like more cognitive energy during the day. And it's like something about that super high intensity, short duration sprints. It's like, it does something.
Yeah, I think it's important especially as we age, to keep doing a workout where we do something as hard as we can.
Yeah.
As long as we can, and in a way like sprinting, you don't run a sprint for a long distance. Like a sprint is very short. And you're able in that distance to maintain the highest intensity you could have. And when that intensity drop a notch, it's because it's not a sprint anymore, sort of. I mean,
right.
I think it's important to do those intervals, and it gives you huge benefits. And it's something I've been doing all my life. I'm a very bad sprinter. I'm better than the average, but I'm not by no means any close to any good sprinter. I'm very bad, but I love sprinting because of the benefits that it gives me.
Yeah. I like doing it on the beach. I like going down to the beach and just sprinting on the sand. It feels good. It doesn't like hurt your feet as much.
A lot of guys, they ask me, "Hey, we're going to do this Ironman or this marathon. Would you like to be part of it?" I'm like, "No, I'd rather sit down and smoke a cigarette than doing this." And they don't understand. I'm like, I think because of where I am in my life, I think it will be more damageable for me to do a marathon than to smoke a cigarette. I know I don't smoke cigarette, but I would rather do that than do a marathon. You know what I mean? Just a preference for me. I'd rather keep it short and very intense than doing it extremely long. You know?
What sort of like are you still doing like the intermittent fasting stuff? Do you have any sort of diet you follow now?
Yeah, I haven't eat today. Now we're like,
you haven't eaten yet today?
No, we're like almost.
It's almost 5 o'clock.
Yeah, so I haven't eat. So and I'm not hungry because I'm used to it. I start implementing fasting into my life 8 years ago. After I was diagnosed. After my fight with Michael Bisping, I was diagnosed with ulcer colitis, which is an inflammation of the colon intestine. And I was on heavy medication. And I'm not a big fan of medication. We talk about the pharmaceutical industry and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, man, there must be a way to do something about it. And I met a doctor that got introduced to me. His name is Jason Fung. He wrote many books on fasting. And he changed my life. He's a nephrologist. He treats his patient that have certain type of diabetes with fasting program.
Diabetes and stuff?
Diabetes, sorry. And he gave me a fasting program. And in less than a month, my symptom diminished. Like in a way that I didn't have any symptom, not long after a month. And I start, after 2 months, to reduce my quantity of medication intake until the point I no longer need medication. And now I can eat whatever I want, like no problem. So I don't when you have ulcer colitis, you're supposed to be stuck for life with it.
Right.
It's something that doesn't go away. And I'm the living proof that, I don't know if it went away, but my symptoms are not there. I might still have an ulcerative colitis, but my symptoms are not there anymore.
Right. Wow.
And now I can eat. The reason why I'm fasting is not because I'm forcing myself. It's because it's just part of my life. And there's time that I go on vacation with my family. I'm having 3 meals a day, like a breakfast, a lunch, and a dinner. But normally, when I'm not hungry, I just don't eat. And I wish, Danny, that I had that information when I was younger. I wish, man.
Really?
Because I think we're bombarded as a human being. And I believe as a human being, we're overfed. Tell me which animal eats 3 times a day and snack in between?
Nothing but us.
I think biologically we're made for fasting. If you look at our ancestor, I love paleontology and I know that we went through the Ice Age, like our ancestor went through Ice Age. I don't think they eat 3 times a day or they snack in between. I think they were opportunists.
They'd be lucky to eat 3 times a week, probably.
Yeah, when they had something, they eat as much as they could, and then they wait, and because they might not know when is the next time they're gonna eat. So I think we're perfectly made for these, and there's a lot of benefits to fasting. So
you typically don't eat until after 4 o'clock every day?
No. I sometimes I eat. I will eat normally. I would say around after my first training, which is around beginning of afternoon.
Okay.
But I also met different specialists that told me that it's good to change it. Sometimes it's good to do a 3 days.
Stay flexible.
Yeah, 3 days water fast. But then after you eat your 3 meals a day, then you shock your body because it's never the same. It's same thing with training. Right. If you do the same training all the time, you will become efficient at it, and it will not be as good for your body. I think the key is you don't want to adapt. You want to shock your body.
Right.
And 4 times a year, I do 3 days water fast.
4 times a year?
4 times a year. After the holidays, before the summer, after the summer, and before the holidays. It's for sure, for me, it's very important. And in between, sometime I will do a 24-hour or something like that. I will shock my body.
Yeah.
And I feel good. And one thing I can tell you for sure, and it happened to me multiple times, where I had little nagging injuries. For example, a few months ago, I had like a Achilles tendon injuries, and it didn't go away. I did rehab, and I couldn't sprint for a few weeks because of it. When I did my 3 days water fast, all the inflammation went away. Mm-hmm. And after my 3-day water fast, I was able to run again.
No way.
And no kidding. And I believe the reason why people don't talk much about it is because there's no money to be made.
Do you do the when you're doing the water fast, do you drink just water, or do you mix it with like the lemon and the syrup and stuff like that?
No, if you do that, you break your fast because you add calories to it. So when I do my water fast, Dr. Jason Fung, he advised me, because I like to stay active, I take salt. So what I do is, salt doesn't taste good, so I took a pinch of salt in the palm of my head, of my hand, lick it, take water, and swallow.
Like a shot of tequila?
Yeah.
This guy?
He's the man. Yeah. He changed my life. Yeah.
So you have to do the salt once a day?
No, I do it when I wake up, before my workout and after my workout.
Okay.
There's different symptoms that indicate that you might be dehydrated or for example, salt. You take salt because you don't want to dehydrate. Because if you don't take salt and you work out, you're not gonna have any mineral to hold the water inside. So when you take salt, it prevents you from dehydration. It helps. And so the symptoms that you might feel sometime when you do a long water fast is that you could be dizzy, you could have chill, like you feel cold.
Right.
These are certain symptoms that indicates that you might not have enough mineral inside your body.
I did a water fast once, and I did it my goal was 7 days. I think I made it 5.
Yeah.
I started Monday and I went all the way to Saturday. Was that right? Or maybe Friday.
Yeah.
And I remember the first 2 days being complete hell, misery. And then like by Wednesday and Thursday, I felt like so amazing. I just felt like so sharp, clear energy, full of energy, just like bubbling with energy 24/7. And I remember I'll never forget this. I played on Thursday or Friday. So like 4 days in, I played full court basketball for like an hour straight with no cramping, no fatigue. Like I usually have to stop and take a rest every 10 minutes. Like I didn't have to rest once. I had so much endurance. And I also went to the gym and I was able to do like 5 times the amount of pull-ups I could normally do. I just kept doing pull-ups. I didn't have to stop. Like I was not getting fatigued.
Well, would you, before a workout, would you rather be like a hungry lion or like a lion that just fed?
Oh, definitely hungry lion.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Same. You know, if you look at nature, you know, they train when they're hungry. You know what I mean?
Sure, they're more vigilant. They're faster.
so.
They're better at catching prey.
I think so. Of course, you need to make sure you don't dehydrate yourself. You know,
Right.
But I think you're more efficient, 100%. And I feel better that way as well. I just felt that when I was younger, I didn't pay attention to it, because if someone would have talked to me about fasting, I would not have listened, because were bombarded by publicity. Oh, take a protein shake, take this, take that, take that. And now I realize that it is very worth to investigate. It could change people's life.
Have you ever messed around with exogenous ketones?
No, I did not.
Yeah, there's these. So obviously you know what ketosis is. Like when you're fasted, your body burns the fat instead of the carbs, and they make exogenous ketones that you can drink. They make it in a powder or in like a liquid, where you can just drink it and instantly put yourself into ketosis. So even if you've just eaten or whatever, or if you haven't fasted long enough to be in ketosis, and you say you ate a bowl of pasta and you need to be in ketosis later, you can drink this stuff and it like boosts your ketone production in your body. And I'm drinking it. I got it in my water right now.
Nice.
It's fucking amazing stuff.
Okay. I know that when you fast, your brain feeds off ketones, which is very good, but you need to be in a fasted state for it. I never heard of this. It's very interesting.
Yeah, no, it's great. It's great for like if you want to. I use it for like pre-workout. If I work out, I'll drink the ketones first, and it just gives me more energy and more endurance. Or like sometimes during a podcast where I don't get enough sleep or whatever.
Yeah,
because my diet is not as nearly as good as yours. I have no discipline with my diet.
I don't have a good diet either. Yeah, the reason why I'm doing fasting is because I don't have a good diet.
Well, the fasting in itself is discipline. That takes a lot. I mean, maybe not for you because you've been doing it for so long, but for me, it takes a ton of discipline. Because I'm just like, my life is so chaotic. You know, I have fucking 3 kids. I'm constantly eating their leftover peanut butter and jelly sandwiches laying around the house and stuff like that. So it's like, I'm just getting by day by day. I'm just like, take my little ketone drinks will help me get through the day.
Yeah, I mean, everything you're trying to accomplish in life, it takes sacrifice, whether if it's for a health purpose or, you know, money, or you need to get out your comfort zone. And I like fasting also because it's very therapeutic. It makes you appreciate, you know, when I break my fast after 3 days and I sit down having a meal, even if my friend and family eat the same meal that I do, my meal will taste better than theirs. 100%. And it's something that you really appreciate when you do fasting. And when you do a long fast, for example, it's very strange. The first few hours, you feel hungry. Very often it's because you have a spike of insulin, you know, because you're used to be fed at that particular period and you're not giving yourself the food. So you feel very hungry. Then after a few more hours, the hunger disappears, but you have a drop of energy. And then after that, a few more hours, during the last part of your 3 days water fast, that's what I experienced. You have a regain of energy. Like you're on sort of survival mode. And that's when things get interesting. And and there's phase to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But of course, it demands a lot of sacrifice.
It's really interesting that you said that it helped recover your Achilles injury.
Yeah, because it kills the inflammation. It's
Right.
very good to kill the inflammation, and it boosts your production of your growth hormone.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. If you look at it, there's a ton of benefits.
Do you ever mess around with like light therapy stuff, like the red light stuff for injuries? See those panels, the red light panels?
Yeah, I have one in my house. There's times that I use it, but I haven't seen. It might work, but I haven't seen a significant difference. What I've seen the biggest significant difference in terms of recovery, if you have an injury, it's really fasting.
Really?
It sucks because it's the most painful one.
It is the most painful one.
Yeah, but
And I can't buy a device that will just help me cheat.
bro, I know. Fasting for me, it's borderline magic. I really love it. For everything that related to inflammation is. For me, I think it's the best that I have experience in, better than anything.
Yeah. And I bet too, like it's got to be way harder when you're traveling around the world all the time.
Well, I think the best time to fast is when you're very busy. You were saying earlier that you have your kid, this, that, but I think it's the best time is when you look at your schedule and it's full. That's the best time to do it because you're gonna be distracted.
Right.
And that one trick also that I use when I'm fasting that was given by Dr. Fung is to drink sparkling water.
Really? When you're fasting?
Yes. And some people also, I don't do it, but some people, they need dark coffee. I mean, they're addicted to caffeine, which I am a little bit, but I'm able during those fasting days to not having any coffee. But if you have to drink your coffee, drink black coffee.
Black coffee, you can still
or tea. It's better. Like a green tea. It's more recommended.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I notice when I travel to other countries, I feel, even if I'm not fasting, if I'm eating their food, I often feel like I feel more energy. I don't feel like bogged down by like all the gluten and the shit that's in the food over here. And like, I can even go, like if I just go to like a South American country, I can eat pizza and French fries and I still feel light as a feather.
Yeah, their standard are better than ours, especially, for example, in Europe. If you eat pasta in Italy or France and you eat the pasta or bread here, it's different.
Way different.
Yeah, they have a higher standard. And you talk about fasting. One thing that I do when I travel in a different time zone, I try as much as possible, because I'm human. I still do it sometimes. I try to not eat in the plane. Especially, I try to eat at the time
the plane
to the destination that I'm going at.
Right, yeah. So, I do the same thing because we all know the plane food is dog shit. You know, that plane food ain't coming from anywhere good. They microwave all that shit covered in cellophane. And
it also makes you eat in not a natural time. So when you arrive at your destination, you're all fucked up because you ate at your previous destination time zone, you know? So it doesn't help you to beat the jet lag.
You've been to Egypt, right?
Yes.
You've been to the pyramids?
Yes, I did.
Somebody was on this podcast, was telling me a story. I don't remember who it was because I've had so many people talk about the pyramids on this podcast.
I went with Jimmy Corsetti.
That's who it was. So Jimmy was saying that he was in the Great Pyramid with you.
Yes.
And you sat in one of the granite box in the King's Chamber.
Yeah, I'll give you the picture.
And he said like something happened to you after. You had some sort of like prophetic download or something.
Well, I was always very interested about ancient civilization, and I've read a lot of the mainstream archaeological book about the pyramids. It's supposed to be a tomb for a Khufu that was built 4,500 years ago. And, I was never really convinced by that, so I wanted to go see it for myself, And when I was there, I was presented different evidence, like a tool, like you could see like a different tool mark on the rock that are clearly not made by copper chisel.
Sure.
And drilling a hole on rose granite. That that is weird, you know, like how is it done, you know? And when you go into the pyramid, I mean, first, you should not be claustrophobic if you go there, because there's a passage that you go in there. It's very tight. Then it enlarge a little bit, and then after you end up in the king's. They call it the king's chamber.
Mm-hmm.
And I went there, and I had a special privilege that was given to me. They made me lay down in the box. You're not supposed to do that, and I hope nobody will get in trouble, because I've done it, and I don't want to, you know, the guy who made me do it, he was very nice, and they block the passage. So when I was laying down, the guy that was with me went on the corner of the room, and the room is about the size of this one.
Mm-hmm.
And he went, and I didn't know what he was doing. I was laying down in the box, and they told me, close your eyes. And I felt of a vibration, but a very good vibration, like very good vibration, like something positive, like. And after when the vibration stopped, I got out of it, and I made a joke to Jimmy. I was like, "I'm coming back to fighting," and it was a joke, obviously, no, but I felt very re-energized, you know, like, because it was a very positive vibration. And then they let people in again, and I asked, I said, "What the hell happened? What was that?" It was that vibration, and they said there was a guy that went in the corner, and he did the like he did it just like this, but I couldn't hear him, but I was feeling his vibration.
Whoa!
Which indicate to me, you know, if you're trying to prove something with evidence, there is objective evidence and subjective, you know. Mm-hmm. Objective evidence is when you lay down, you know, solid proof. I don't have that. Like, the only thing I can tell you is that I felt a vibration, and it convinced me. It was so good that it convinced me that it has something to do with acoustic or vibration, or maybe harnessing the power of the planet, or I don't know, man. I don't believe now. I don't think I'm not sure if it was a tomb. I don't jump to conclusion. I need more. I think it's important to collect all the data, especially now that you have this guy, Filippo Biondi, that has a tomography image underneath the Giza Plateau. I don't know if you've seen that. I've with seen the spiral, the thing that goes down. I think it's like almost a kilometer down. It's insane. I think it needs to be investigated further before jumping to a conclusion and saying, "Oh, it's a tomb for Khufu," because now I don't know how this could be only a tomb if you have all those things, you know. It
is bizarre how you felt that from laying in that box in the chamber, because that it's been proven that it's been measured by scientists that chamber resonates at a certain frequency. A certain hertz. I remember Chris Dunn was on the podcast a couple of years ago, and he was explaining. He said he was measuring it.
He's in. Chris Dunn. He's an engineer,
He's
aeronautic engineer.
Aeronautic engineer, exactly. Yeah, and then he
believes it's a power plant. It was a power plant.
He believes it was an ancient power plant, a solid state electron harvester. He thinks it was like harvesting electrons.
After having that experience that I had. I went there. I didn't know, you know. I wanted to see it for myself, and after having that experience, now I'm more inclined to believe Christopher Dunn than the mainstream explanation, saying it was constructed to be a tomb. I mean,
it really doesn't make sense that, like, because the passages are so tiny, and like,
it's weird.
What do you need all these other passages for? And you know, the amount of time that it would take to do it, it doesn't fit. It doesn't fit. And it resonates at what, 111? That doesn't sound right. That's the Serapeum. That's why.
Oh yeah, Serapeum is different.
King's Chamber, Great Pyramid.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's a Serapeum is the box.
That's that's the other side.
But the Serapeum is another mystery.
Right.
There's tons of mystery in the world. Like, I mean, you talk about Egypt. You have the pre-dynastic vases that are a mystery. That there's tons of it. It's not only the pyramids. There's tons
the
of
vases
mystery.
were debunked.
Pre-dynastic vase. Oh, they've been debunked?
I know. I'm so sad.
Really, huh?
Yeah, I'm very upset about it.
We should not attach any emotion to it. It is debunk, it's debunk. You know what I mean?
So we had.
I was not aware of it.
Yeah, we had a nuclear engineer or nuclear physicist on the podcast, and he's very much invested in those granite. Like he was obsessed with this ancient stuff, and he saw all the evidence for the granite bases. And God, I wish I could remember this correctly, but basically he found out that out of all of the granite bases that exist that we found inside of the pyramid and in private collections, there's like lots of guys who have purchased a lot of these vases. He's gotten access to the private collections and the vases that exist in the museums, and he's measured them all. And I could be butchering this a little bit, so go watch that. Find out that guy's name so we could. What's his name?
Max Zamilov.
Max Zamilov. We did a podcast with him. And out of all of the vases that he measured, the most precise, perfect ones that were like they could only been made on a CNC machine.
Yeah.
Those were modern vases. They were made in modern times. They weren't made in ancient times. The ones that were like fucked up, not symmetrical, those were the ones that were ancient.
Oh, really?
So
I wasn't aware of that.
It doesn't necessarily prove that it's debunked, but it throws a massive wrench.
But you know it's important because the problem is people attach their emotion to an idea, and they shouldn't attach the emotion. They should just look at the data.
Yeah.
It's fun to speculate. Like me, I'm the same way. I love to speculate.
Yeah.
But is it a tomb for Khufu? Is it made, I don't know, from an ancient civilization or alien or whatever? Like, it's fun to speculate.
Well, look, we're all human beings on this earth, and we all have access to the same evidence.
Yeah.
Right? So why is it that your explanation for it is superior to mine? Yeah. We can both see the same evidence, and we can both argue. And whoever has the better argument, it doesn't mean you should, just because it doesn't fit the old story, doesn't mean that it has to be some conspiracy theory to label those person as kooks and anti-academic. Like that's not how it works. You should be able to win the argument.
They clearly add knowledge or a technique that was lost. Like, look, this is undeniable. Like
there's the Petri core that was found that they, Chris Dunn measured it, where it's a granite core that was taken out of a piece of granite.
Yeah, the revolution by
inch. They wrapped a thread around the whole thing, and they somehow determined that whatever drilled that must have had so much power to be able to drill that thing out of granite. There's no conventional explanation of how they would have done that 2,500 years ago or 4,000 years ago, whatever it was.
But Danny, there's no really good conventional explanation for the pyramid, for Sacsayhuaman in South America, for Baalbek. I went to Baalbek and I saw the Trilaton. The Temple of Jupiter is Roman, but the platform underneath, where they have like 800 tons stone, they're called the Trilaton, and they're not even on the base. I was there with Jimmy Corsetti.
Right.
It's
like a one massive piece, right?
Bro, they brought it from a quarry that is like 400 meter in a hill. Like, how the hell? They will say they use lug. Maybe a few lug will do if you bring something of a few ton. But how they did for 800 tons? And there's even in the quarry, there's stone that are carved, but they were left there. And the explanation is that these one were too heavy, so I'm like, it looks to me like the work was interrupted by something. Like there was something going on. They were in the middle of a construction, and they got interrupted.
Yeah.
By something. And maybe later on the Roman came and built on top of it. So that's the thing. If you look at the pyramid, also the convention explanation, they use different evidence from, like, the papyrus. They have a papyrus evidence that the Egyptian work on the pyramid.
Right.
The labor, they were not slave, they were labor. And they say, they brought this stone. They describe what they're doing, but maybe they were remodeling it. Like maybe they did not build it. Maybe they like over the century, there are different civilizations that went there. They
repaired it.
They repair, and maybe that's what it is.
And I'm sure they did use it as a tomb. Like I'm sure they found this crazy monumental structure.
Maybe.
And they're like, we're gonna bury our kings in there.
Maybe. I mean, it's fun to speculate, but I don't know. Like, I mean, I prefer. I love to speculate. I prefer not give any conclusion. Keep it open.
Yeah.
But the conclusion that was presented to me, that is a tomb for Khufu, it doesn't satisfy me.
No.
It does not satisfy me.
Have you ever heard of the Land of Chem? There's a guy named Jeffrey Drum. He's a YouTube channel called The Land of Chem. He lives in Egypt, right across the street from the Giza Plateau. And he has the best scientific breakdown explanation of what the Great Pyramids were. And he also connects it to all the pyramids in South America. And what he thinks they were chemical and industrial manufacturing plants. He thinks that they were basically factories to extract the natural chemicals like ammonia and sulfur dioxide and things like this from the earth, so that they could use it for agriculture and metallurgy and metal production. And he's not just saying this. He literally backs it up, like exactly how those pyramids, like he does diagrams of all the pyramids, like the red pyramid, the bent pyramid, the great pyramid, the middle pyramid, and the small one. And with all of the chambers, he connects it all. Like this one made this chemical, which then transferred to this one, which made this chemical. And then this one transferred to these two. And they used the chemical that came out of that for fertilizer, which could also be used for metallurgy and metal production. And like he ties in the different types of stones that are used in each pyramid and how those certain stones conduct electricity to specifically produce that chemical. And it's so in-depth and complex. It's like, the thing about it is it's not a sexy theory like, ooh, it was a free energy power plant, where they could distribute free energy and power flying saucers. No, it's more mundane. It's extracting natural resources from the earth. But it also uses electricity from lightning and telluric currents. So he claims that there was wind currents that were coming across the Giza Plateau and going up the pyramid and creating thunderstorms. And the lightning was striking it. And somehow he uses that to tie into the agriculture side of it. And what's interesting is he also uses that theory and ties it into different other ancient sites around the world. There's one in England, White Horse Hills, and then there's also Stonehenge. And he makes a very compelling case to how all these ancient sites are tied together as far as creating storms to bring rain for the purpose of agriculture. And he connects it to Mexico and South American pyramid sites. And dude, it's an amazing theory.
It's an interesting theory. One thing for sure that is puzzling is that they add knowledge or a technique that we don't know. This is...
They were on a totally different 100%. Trajectory.
And you don't have to go back that far. Just take, for example, you can look it up, Greek fire. It was a weapon that was used by the Byzantine Empire. It was described by many historians as so terrifying that people were afraid. And it was like the equivalent of the atomic bomb for the ancient world. The way it's described is they used to throw flame to an enemy ship. And even if you go in the water, you keep burning. They think it was made of a mix of petrol and, because it stick to you and it keeps burning. They try to recreate it today, but they don't know exactly how it was made. The cocktail was secret. So this is just
That's crazy. We haven't found any texts to say to have like the ingredients of it.
Yeah, because it was kept secret. It was the Byzantine Empire that had access to that technology.
Find a description of it.
But
Steve.
it's probably much older. It could be much older than that. There's tons of examples when you go in different archaeological sites that are puzzling. You're like, how the hell they did that? Maybe they had access to certain knowledge that we lost over time because wars or, maybe a catastrophe.
Right.
Just look at the Hermetics, the 7 principle of Hermetics, the mentalist, correspondence, vibration. You have rhythm, you have causality, the polarity, gender. Hermetics, it's according to the source, it's born in antiquity, but the root of it goes back far, far back. Like in ancient Egypt, Hermes Trismegistus, Thoth. So if you go back to if you trace back the roots, man, how come they knew that at the time? You know what I mean? Those principles that now with science we can apply that. Right. I'm sure you heard as above, so below.
Yeah.
It's one of the principle of Hermetics. It's correspondence. If you look at things that are very small, sometimes it resembles the things that are extremely big in the universe.
Yes.
This is one of the concept. But how did they knew that back then? You know what I mean? There's tons of examples like this, that knowledge that I believe was lost because of different reasons. And I think sometimes people have the tendency to believe that our ancestors, when you go far, far back in the past, they were dumb, but maybe they were much smarter than we believe.
Dude, hold on. I want to read it with this Greek fire before I say this. Greek fire was created, what was it? It says Syrian architect. The exact chemical makeup of the weapon is unknown. However, the fact that water is unable to extinguish it leads some to speculate the active ingredients was calcium phosphide made by heating lime, bones, and charcoal.
Yeah.
On contact with water, calcium phosphide releases phosphine, which ignites spontaneously, actually making the weapon equally dangerous, if not more so, on water as it is on land. That's fucking nuts.
They had back then, it's called alchemy. I don't know if you ever heard. And it's part of Hermetics, is the alchemy, the science of alchemy. And even Isaac Newton was obsessed about alchemy.
Oh yeah,
Isaac Newton, one of probably the best brain, pound for pound best brain of all time. So it makes you wonder, how much they knew, like what kind of knowledge they had back then, And I don't know when exactly, but I would love to see how the pyramid were built, how Baalbek, the platform on Baalbek was built, the temple of Jupiter, under the temple of Jupiter, Sacsayhuaman, Derenkuyu, Gobekli Tepe, Stonehenge,
right,
and Machu Picchu. I would love to see that, man.
Yeah.
Maybe there's something that we don't think of, that maybe they had access a certain technique or knowledge. I have no idea.
I had this lady on recently who's a psychologist from Harvard, and she made the case to me that the invention of the written word is the catalyst that could potentially spiraled humanity into chaos to where we are now. And the case she made for it, the way she explained it, was the Garden of Eden with Adam and Eve. And she says the apple from the forbidden fruit from the tree of knowledge resembled written knowledge. And she said the difference between that type of knowledge and internal knowledge, like pure knowing something, she says that by its very nature, the written word is deceiving.
Yeah, it's subject to interpretation.
Exactly. So it is inherently deceptive, whether on purpose or not. So if you write something down in the year 10 AD. And now here we are 2,000 years later. It's nowhere near what the truth was. And she thinks potentially that invention, the ubiquity of the written word being directly responsible for humans gaining knowledge, could be what led us astray from maybe what the ancient people knew and maybe what they were doing compared to the trajectory we're on now.
Yeah.
Because everyone when you want to know anything, when you want to learn anything, you're constantly digesting, reading books, watching videos, listening to audio, whatever. It's not necessarily intuitive. You're not using intuition.
You cannot think outside of your frame of reference, right? It's like if I ask you, for example, to draw a monster, you might draw 2 heads, 3 arms, 5 legs, but you don't come up with something original. So what you're saying is maybe in what they meant, it was something different than when we read, we see it as we take it from our frame of reference, but maybe they have a different frame of reference that they could extract on.
Totally. And not just the words can change over time, but the cultures change.
Of course.
And everything, the whole world changes. So and then you could have people that are trying to use it to their advantage, people trying to make money off of it or whatever it is. It's just, her point was just going back to the apple from the tree of knowledge and written knowledge versus intuitive knowledge.
Yeah.
Right. And I mean, when you're fighting and you're trying to remember something versus not thinking, when your brain turns off, that's where the magic is.
Yeah, when you're in the zone, man.
Yeah.
In fighting, you don't have time to think. If you're thinking, you're losing the opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
The thinking is done during the preparation.
Mm-hmm.
When you fight, you have to flow. Be in the zone.
Yeah.
Be reactive, going by instinct. We say instinct, but you sort of program your instinct.
Right.
To react accordingly to the problem that is presented in front of you. And this is done during the preparation.
Mm-hmm.
And there's different kind of preparation for whether you're an athlete, a performer, or a businessman. I believe, and this is only me, and this is a concept that really helped me. There's a physical preparation as an athlete. Like, are you in shape? Are you injury-free? Your body is healthy. This is the first layer, the physical. Then you go up, it's like a pyramid. You go up the second layer, the technical, your knowledge. Do you know how to do an armbar, how to escape a triangle choke? Knowledge is very important.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have a third layer, tactical. How your strength match against your opponent's strength. How will you take him out of his comfort zone and bring him where you're the most comfortable?
Mm-hmm.
This is tactic, and this layer I think makes the difference between champion and contenders. And there's a last one that makes difference, I believe, between the champion, the guys that gonna be champion, but the guy gonna be a legend, who's gonna be like gonna write his name down in history.
Yeah,
it's the visualization. And a lot of people will roll their eyes thinking it's sort of esoteric, but I truly believe in that. It's part of the preparation. I believe that you need to force yourself to visualize your success. There's a book that was written called The Secret, and I don't agree with their certain concept that they say, but I agree with some others. I don't think it's your goal that will come towards you, like it's written in that book. I believe it's you that needs to go towards the goal. I think it's important to visualize before every fight. Even before I start fighting, I was visualizing myself to do what I want to do, to success. And down the road, you force yourself to visualize, but sometimes what happens when you're in the middle of doing something, you have a vision that pops up in your head that is negative, where you see yourself failing. Or let's say I have a fight coming up, I see myself getting dropped by a punch. I believe it is very important when those vision pops in your head to force yourself to see how you're gonna get the upper end in the situation. So you don't end the vision on a negative note, because up here you want to be champion. You want to be undefeated, undisputed. Because if you finish your visualization on a negative note, it will leave a scar. And you have to always be the best up here. Mm-hmm. I had the ritual that I used to do before every fight. I'm not someone who's how do you say what's the word? Like I used to have a ritual that I used to do, but it was to prepare me mentally as a visualization. Mm-hmm. Before every fight, I was trying to see
like a meditation.
It's a sort of a meditation, but before every fight, I was like doing the same thing. When I wake up the morning of a fight, I always have a shitty night of sleep because I keep rehearsing scenarios that might happen in the fight, and it drives me nuts because of my obsessive compulsive nature.
Yeah.
So I wake up in the morning, I feel like shit, but I force myself to act like it's going to be a great day and I'm happy to be there. So I wake up, clap my hand as today is going to be a great day. And it's a little bit like a ritual, because after I wake up, I meet the rest of my team for breakfast. And they all know how I feel because they've been with me for decades. They all know that I had a shitty night of sleep, that I'm nervous, extremely uncomfortable, but they are themselves playing their role in the play. So they come to me and say, "Hey, George, how was your night?" "I had a great night of sleep. Tonight we're going to kick ass. I can't wait." "Oh, yeah, I feel you, man. I feel you." But they're playing their role, because if someone doesn't play the role, there's a breach in the armor. You know, like there's like, so we all play a role. You fake it until you make it.
Right.
So I go walk. So I like to go walk when I have access to the place where I'm going to fight. I like to go in my locker room the day of or the day before. I make a walk from my locker room and I try to visualize how it will be, the crowd, everything, to try to feel that, how it's going to be. So when I do that, and it happened for real after, I feel like I have done it before. So it's not the first time that it happened. So I know the ending of the movie. It's a good ending. It makes me feel confident. So I try to sort of self-hypnose myself for success. And I as I'm walking, I'm trying to imagine the crowd. Then I go in the octagon, I shadow box. I try to think of different scenario that might happen, and this. Then I finish. My coach raised my hand, and then I go back in the locker room. I imagine that the fight is over and I won the belt. And I've been doing this through all my career, and I realized that I even did it when I was a kid. My mom used to, because when I was a kid growing up, I was bullied as a kid. I didn't have a lot of friends. And later when I started having friends, my friends were not cool people. They were intellectual people. And I was an intellectual guy as well. You know, I was just a good athlete, you know.
With intellectual guys with huge traps and cauliflower
well,
ears.
yeah, but I was not always like that. But I realized that my mom did that subliminal hypnose for me at a very young age. She used to buy a tape. And before I go to bed, I used to listen to tape. You know, tape like saying, "If you want, everything is possible. I work hard. I'm strong. I'm beautiful." And then after, it lasts for maybe 15, 20 minutes. And then after, you have sound waves. I used to listen to these tapes every day before I go to bed, because my mom knew that I was victim of bullying, and I grew up with a lot of negativity. Growing up, my dad was drinking, you know, it was a tough environment when I grew up. Then it turns out, well, he stopped, he really inspired me. But the point is, there's different phase of preparation. There's a physical, technical, tactical, and there's a mental one that I think people will not believe, but I believe that's what makes the difference between the legend and the people that go beyond being champion. They make a legacy. And I think it's it's very important. You know, the power of your mind.
Yeah, it is wild how you can use your mind to visualize and sort of manifest reality.
Yeah. Because when you have an idea, when you materialize an idea in your head, it have an effect on your emotion.
Yeah,
and your emotion is what control your hormones. Your hormones control your actions.
Right.
Your action make it real in the materialistic world. So the idea, which to the eyes of most of people is not real, can in fact through that process make it real in the world we live in.
Right. Right. You can use tricks you can trick your brain.
Yes.
In certain ways.
And this is, by the way, is a concept of Hermetics. It's the mentalists. All we experience is in our mind. So it's a very interesting. All those concepts come real. You know.
No, that stuff's really real. That stuff's for sure real. And I mean, I've used stuff like that too, like in like similar to you, like when I'm feeling. When you feel not confident or fearful, changing the way you walk or the way you breathe, like just start breathing like you're confident or start walking like you're super confident, and it changes your mind. Like it's a loop. It's a feedback from your brain to your body.
James Lange, he says that your mind can dictate your actions. But also your action can transform you.
Yes.
From the outside.
It works both ways.
In.
Yeah.
It works. And very often in life, and I'm no different than anyone, I make the mistake as well, because I'm sort of paranoid by nature, like because maybe my background, I'm from fighting the art of war, so I like to prepare myself for certain things. So by nature, when something happens, I like to be prepared, but sometimes I'm taking too much energy of expecting the worst to come, and it creates more anxiety and stress. So it's not always a good thing. For a fighter, it's a good thing. You want to be that way.
Yeah.
But for in everyday life, sometimes it doesn't help me. It's very negative. So I have to work on myself a lot.
Yeah. One of the misconceptions I had about jiu-jitsu before I got into it is I always had this idea that dudes who are like really good at fighting and stuff like this, they would have less egos. Like it was a misconception I had. And then when I got into jiu-jitsu, I'm like, all these dudes have the biggest egos.
Yeah.
It's like, I walk into a fucking club and I could beat his ass, I could beat his ass, I could beat his.
You know what jiu-jitsu means? It's the art of softness.
So is that what it actually means?
Yeah. To be flexible, to be soft, to be. I know because I have it here.
Oh, that's what that means.
Yes. So it has a meaning.
Is that Japanese?
Yeah, but it has a meaning. It means that flexible in a way that you could be very nice, very cool, but also very rude, very hard.
Right.
And that's why I had that tattoo. It represent me. But it's true what you said. I mean, but for me, I feel that the more dangerous you become, the more you realize how. The more you realize how vulnerable you are. Look, I was world champion in MMA. If someone who's strong walk behind me, tap me on the shoulder and sucker punch me, he can knock me out. Like, of course, if he miss me, he's gonna be in trouble. But what I'm saying is just that we're all human beings. If I zig when I should have zagged and I get punched, I can lose a fight myself as well. Of course, the odds are not on the other guys, on the favor on the other guys. But I'm just saying that you realize when you do martial art, how vulnerable you become. So yes, it helps your confidence. You walk into a room, you have what it takes to take care of business.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, it also makes you realize that, man, you could, how easy you could,
yes,
finish in the bad hand.
I would rather be the guy with overly confident who has the skill and the experience than the guy who's overly confident with none of it.
No, 100%, 100%. But there's guys that are pretty badass, man. That, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
you cannot judge a book by the cover.
What is it? Is it a real phenomenon? Like, for you, like, being the dude you are, like, have you ever gone out into public? Is it common for people to try to like fuck with you more or try to like, you know?
It's very rare.
Really?
It's very, very rare. It happens maybe 2-3 times and recently. Like, I mean, when I say recently, in the last maybe 3 decades, you know, maybe
Like
not
some
3
drunk
decades,
guy.
but 2 decades, maybe 3 times. But normally, I strongly believe that you attract what you send off to the world. I try to be respectful to everyone.
Yeah.
And I'm not a cocky person. I am. If someone trying to get trouble with me, I feel the heat rising. You know, I give it's fine. For me, it's no ego. Right. I don't have that ego. I don't.
Right.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I was always very good, especially when I was fighting, to put a shield around myself. Guys were trying to get under my skin because I always believed that I was the best, and the only way they could win the fight if I derail from what I'm supposed to do. That's confident. You know, I was extremely scared, afraid, but I was confident. It's different. The being confident is not the absence of fear. Being confident is knowing that you have what you need in order to succeed. It's very, very important to differentiate the two.
Was it common for you to question yourself or your abilities? Was that like a common thing for you? Or did you always know internally that you were the best?
You have faith in yourself, but you're never 100% sure. It's normal to question yourself. It's a little bit like, for certain people, God or the architect of the universe, you know, the great architect of the universe. Is there I believe there is one, but I don't have the solid proof.
Right.
I always believe I was the best, but I don't have the solid proof. I need to prove it. But before I prove it, you know, I don't know for sure, but I have faith in myself. Mm-hmm. And also sometimes you have to consider the fact that even if you're the best, you think you're the best, it's not the best guy that wins the fight.
Right.
Like in a game of basketball, you talk about basketball, it's not the best team that wins the game. Same thing in hockey, baseball, football. The guy that will win the fight is the guy that will fight the best the night of the fight. Because otherwise it would be boring. We will always know who will win, right? So that's why there's betting
so
odds.
So many
you know?
different variables, right?
Yeah, well, if you zig when you should have zagged, there's so many different things that can affect the performance. So it's impossible to know.
Yeah.
And the real question, like now you get into the realm of philosophy and deeper into this is, do you believe in free will? Or do you believe in determinism? Is everything predetermined, like a domino effect, or is there free will?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I want to believe that I have free will, but sometimes logically, if I try to reason on that, it's hard for me to have a good argument against causality.
Yeah, it's an interesting question, you know, because there is evidence that there's weird. Have you heard of what are the dreams called where we predict the future? People have dreams.
Premonition.
Yeah, like premonitions. And there's been multiple verified accounts through history of people having dreams about things before they happen. Mm-hmm. Like 9/11, there was a bunch of people who had dreams about that and documented it before the plane hit the towers. Yeah. Also, the Titanic was another one. And
like Michel de Notre Dame, Nostradamus is a famous one.
Oh, really?
Predict the Second World War.
Yeah.
The thing is, it's hard with these things is the
precognitive dreams. That's the term I was looking for.
It's the interpretation of because they never say, right? They never say, oh, this guy gonna do it. Like, it's never precise. I mean, it's sort of vague, and it's after the event happened. Oh, that's what he meant.
Sure.
So it's subject to interpretation.
Right.
That's why I want to believe it. It's like the UFO, the ancient civilization. I want to believe in it because I believe we're more than what we think we are. But man, the logical part of me wants solid evidence.
There's no, the thing about it is there's no, like, it's probably not black and white, right? It's probably just, that's the way our monkey brains interpret it. Is there free will, or is, do we make our own future? The answer is probably both or neither, right? It's probably, we aren't evolved enough, or we don't have the senses to understand that it's probably far more complex than we can comprehend right now.
That's right.
And maybe a couple thousand years down the road, if we're not wiped off the face of the earth, we might have a clearer picture of it. But it's almost impossible to say any one thing is absolutely true, right? In most cases, there's lots of nuance, but often, when people do have big, grandiose claims or scientific breakthroughs or conclusions like this, it's more sexy and it gets more attention, and people like to talk about it more. And often the truth is in the middle. So I think you're right about that. Those precognitive dreams, there's a lot of evidence to support the claims, but also it's like these people like to all start coming out of the woodwork once it's already happened, and they can say, "Ooh, look, we proved it."
Yeah, there's also there's document that show that the U.S. government after the Second World War spent a lot of money in remote viewing, using remote viewers to spy on the Soviet. Because they found out the Soviet started their program first. They were like, I think, a decade late.
Yeah.
So they were like, hey, if there's something really to it, we want to catch up. And their conclusion was like, no, there's nothing to it. Of course, publicly, that's what they claim.
Is that what they claim publicly? Really?
They say you have a video of an audio, I think, of Jimmy Carter, the president, that talks about when they use a remote viewer to find a plane that crashes in Africa. And it was accurate. There's an audio on that. Yeah, you can look online. And I mean, I don't know. I mean, you have very credible people sometimes that comes public with incredible claims. It's like Carl Sagan says, incredible claim need incredible evidence.
Incredible evidence. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, though I've talked to remote viewers before from those programs back in the 80s and the early 90s, and it seems like it was a legit thing, but it's like, how accurate was it? From what I understand is they had to have like multiple people focusing on one target, and like they give them a time, they give them a place, and they all have to they all come up with abstract images, right? So you have like 12 people that are focusing on a certain geography and a certain time. And it's like, explain the smells, explain the emotions, explain anything that just comes to mind. And oftentimes it was like vague, ambiguous, abstract ideas, but they would try to take it from multiple people and piece it together with real world intelligence. So they'd have like, human intelligence on the ground claiming X, and they say, okay, let's try to corroborate it with these remote viewers and see if they can get anywhere close to what this other person was saying to see if it's accurate, But they spent so much money on it.
Yeah.
And it's like,
why would they do that?
Now they have satellites everywhere. There's millions of satellites all over the fucking planet orbiting the Earth. It's like, do they need to have a bunch of nerds in a room remote viewing shit? I don't know. I think now they're probably who knows what they're doing with like psychedelics and stuff now.
Yeah, I wanted to believe, but god damn, it's hard. I don't know. Or it's the same as have you seen the work of the doctor Diane Hennessy Powell on autistic kids?
That's the girl I was talking about earlier, the girl who was telling me about the written word.
Yeah.
She's the psychologist we had on a couple weeks ago.
Oh, you had her on?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, she was fascinating.
She believes that there is something to it, right? She believed there is it's more than telepathy, she says. She's like more than remote viewing. They can sense sometimes if someone is sick.
I'm very skeptical of it, though.
Really, yeah? Of course, you should be.
I'm super skeptical. I wasn't at first, but then I heard some pushback on it, and I asked her about it as well. One of the problems with it, with those kids who claim to have telepathy, is there can't be any stage magicians present. So a stage magician can do the same thing, right?
Yeah.
They're able to fake this in a way where they admit that it's, you know, we're pulling a trick off here, but to a layman person like me or you, we wouldn't be able to tell the difference.
Yeah.
So a good way to test if this is real is have somebody who knows how to fake it, like a real stage magician, to corroborate it. But the claim is that the autistic savants that are doing this stuff, if there's any sort of skeptical energy in the room, it shuts down their superpowers. So that's a problem, number one.
Yeah.
And another thing that I brought up with her is like, you know, she one of the claims is like, you ever experience when you're thinking about somebody you haven't thought about in a long time and they call you?
Yeah. It happens to everyone.
Like, whoa, what was that? That was like, you know, crazy synchronicity or something like that.
Yeah.
Or maybe some psychic abilities. But we have human beings inherently have a problem with probabilities. How many times have you been thinking about somebody you haven't thought about in a long time and they never called you? Probably a fuckload.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
But the one time they did call you was it was a meaningful event to you, right? That stuck in your mind because it's so rare and it was so meaningful to you. So it must have been something supernatural, something unexplainable, you know?
Yeah, you're right. It's I have a friend, his name is Chris Ramsey. He's a stage magician.
Yeah, he's great. I'm a fan of his.
He's like me. He likes to have the evidence, but he believes there might be something to it because there is certain thing that he cannot debunk himself. He told me, he's like, man, this one I really don't know. It's hard to know. You know, like that doesn't mean they didn't have a trick that he might not be aware of.
Right.
That's his wheelhouse. That's what he does.
I would love to see Chris Ramsey get in the room with one of these people that do this stuff and just get his take on it live.
Have you ever seen the episode of the great James Randi? He's a magician that used to debunk those charlatans. So you can go on YouTube and check it out. He's a magician, and he used to tell people, I'm a magician and I'm going to fool you. And you're not going to see it coming. And he was honest and he was performing his magic trick. But later on, he decided to debunk people. Now he passed. He no longer exists, but it was great. So he used to go in sometime in churches, and where you have the guy, his name was Popov. He used to have a healing crusade where the faithful used to fill up a card before the mass. With their their condition, and he used to be prompted by his wife with in the hearing with a mic like a something to listen, and his wife was standing, okay, row 7, number 5, you have a lady that has arthritis in her hips. So he was like faking that he was speaking to God, and he was like, you have Janet, row 5, number 6, stand up, please. And then he's like, God is telling me you have arthritis in your hips. And he's like, oh my God. And he's like, we're going to make the devil mad. Amen. And he used to make people believe he was healing people. But there's a thing that is called placebo effect.
Oh, yeah.
So the lady, you could see the video, she stood up. Like she had a cane. She came with a cane, but she stood up and she really believed that she's getting healed. And she walks out the church with no cane. Of course, after a while, when she go back down, maybe the adrenaline comes down. Now she's still in pain because she's like, shit, I'm not supposed to walk without my cane.
Right.
But it was great. He had a show that he was debunking people. James Randi.
That's fascinating.
Yeah. He debunked a bunch of people.
Yeah, man. The placebo effect is real, bro.
Yeah, placebo and nocebo. It's very important. So when I was talking about the visualization, it's true. There's an effect. If you visualize something positive, it has like an effect on you, on your behavior, on your hormones, and your hormones can manifest in your action and become real. But I don't know how big that effect could be. Now, people that they claim ESP, they can have amplify those effects that they can like heal people or maybe read someone's mind or see the future. This I don't know, it's hard to believe.
It is, and
I think it can certainly have a small effect, positive effect, but to have that much of a big effect, I need the evidence for it.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, there's been so many studies that have used placebo in a similar way, and people have had like insane benefits. But you're right, like the long term effect doesn't usually stick. It's usually...
And the same thing for the negative effect.
Right.
If you program yourself to be negative, you'll have it's the same thing the other way around. I believe it's very strong.
Yeah, man, it's fucking wild shit. So what are you doing for your podcast? You're traveling around doing a whole bunch of episodes before you drop the whole thing, or what?
Yeah, so I'm launching a YouTube channel very soon. It's gonna be 2 different channels. One's gonna be a vlog. And then one's gonna be a podcast. And the concept is that I'm going to meet my different people, doctors, professional athletes, wellness expert, archaeologists, paleontologists, different people to talk about different topics that I'm passionate about. And the concept is me meeting them in their environment.
Oh, that's cool.
And we get to know them better, who they are, who they are behind that, what they do professionally.
Yeah.
And then I sat down with them. When this is done, it's the vlog, and then I sit down and I talk about the topics that I'm.
How many have you done so far?
I've done about a dozen.
Whoa.
Yeah, and I'm waiting to have a few in the bank, like we say, because once you start putting it online, it needs to be on a regular base, So yeah, I'm still learning. I'm new with this.
Any episodes you can give me a sneak peek on? Any crazy ones?
Yeah, I have one with Demetrius Johnson. Who's Demetrius Johnson in mixed martial art? I believe pound for pound, he's the best fighter that ever lived. And while I'm here in Tampa, tomorrow I'm going to see Lane Norton. He's an expert in nutrition, diet, and also he's a national champion in powerlifting. I'm going to see after the day after Royce Gracie. Royce Gracie was the winner of the first UFC. He was my idol growing up.
He's around here?
Yeah, he lives in Tampa.
What?
In Sarasota, yeah. He has a school, a Jiu-Jitsu school, yeah.
In Sarasota?
Yes, sir.
No shit.
Yeah,
That's wild, bro.
Yeah, so I have a different
There's so many interesting people around here.
Yeah,
I never know that.
You know who really inspired me? I mean, he doesn't know, but it sort of indirectly inspired me to do these things, is Joe Rogan. Because Joe Rogan, he has a very successful podcast. And for him, he does what he wants. It's like going to school. You choose what you want to learn today. Today I'm going to learn about, I don't know, ancient civilization. I'm going to have this guy. Or I want to learn about science. I'm going to have that guy. I want to learn about dinosaurs, paleontology. Like, it's cool. And I think it's great. You having a good time. You still learning.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean I'm not always going to be, I will always agree with my guests. But they're going to have a chance to show their point of view on different topics. And I like to go on each side of the spectrum, Having a guy who's a mainstream who believe, like this, and another guy who's, has a different theory but good evidence that, it needs to be good evidence,
Yeah. Well, that's cool because you got such a diversity of interests and things that you're interested in and that you do yourself, that you could do like a really cool show with like tons of different topics.
Yeah, it's fun. It's gonna be fun. And
when are you gonna get Joe on there?
Yeah, I need to get Joe. There's a lot of
He needs to be episode 1. God damn it!
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. He's a very busy man. I mean, he's got his podcast. He's a UFC commentator. He's got the Mothership, his comedy club.
Oh my god, that dude's so busy.
It really inspired me because Joe now he does whatever the hell he wants.
Yeah,
and I kind of respect that about him. He doesn't give a damn. He's like, you don't like what I do, just turn the channel. And don't look at me. And I respect that. And I want to do the same thing in a way that I want to do what I want to do, talk about the topics that I like. Even if the guy is very popular, but I don't get along, I don't want to have him I'm not gonna do him. I want to do the people I like and
That you like.
the topic that I'm passionate about.
That's the way to do it, bro.
Yeah, man.
Stick to your guns.
Yeah.
Is the channel already up?
No,
or-
it's not. It's gonna be up in a few weeks. You know, I'm waiting
Okay.
to have. Everything needs to be edited and
Okay.
yeah, it's gonna be up. It's gonna be a GSP vlog and GSP podcast. It's gonna be 2 different channels.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. Well, we'll link all that stuff below. And thanks again for doing this, bro.
I thank you, Danny. I was a fan of what you do for a long time. I like the
Likewise,
topics,
bro.
I like
You're
the
the
topics
goat.
you talk about, and yeah, man. Thank you for having me on.
Fuck yeah, brother. My pleasure. And we'll link all your stuff below. And that's all. Good night, folks.
Fuck yes, sir.